Zach. Shirt, especially if you're going to be in front of our live streaming booths. Any subs, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18, we'd like you to wear a sub shirt. Suburbanites, please hurry up for 50-50 strike ball and split ball. $15. Orange ticket, last three numbers, 227, 227. Strike balls for $27.50. Round ticket, 5,
524. 524. Next ticket, 498. 498. Next ticket, 518. 518. Red ball carryover. Split ball is for $44.50. Purple ticket, 531. 531. Last ticket, 579. 579.
evening. Luck and good bowling.
Okay, good evening, everybody. My name's Larry Lichstein, and tonight you are watching the position round matches of the Morgantown Scratch Classic, coming here from Suburban Lanes in Morgantown, West Virginia. And our position round tonight is starting on lanes 9 and 10, where Logo and Fusion is bowling hammer, and it looks like Logo and Fusion has locked up this first 9-week segment. They're bowling for 64 points tonight, plus total pins at 50 pins for each point. They're 63 points ahead. So in other words, if they were to lose tonight, they've got to be swept by hammer. But there's a lot of money at stake on 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And we'll be talking about those bowlers as the evening goes on. But before I go any further, I got very lucky tonight. I'm sitting here with a young man who I had a chance to meet this summer, who is a fantastic bowler, and his name is Kyle Sherman from St. Louis, and he is the boyfriend?
Yes.
He is the boyfriend of our wonderful young lady in our league, Amanda Green, a PWBA champion, who's going to West Virginia U for a law degree. Am I correct?
Amanda is, yes.
Amanda's going for a law degree. But anyways, Kyle is going to sit with me this evening. Kyle, welcome aboard.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Well, now I got to ask you some questions now. I was kind of surprised you were coming here tonight, but not surprised knowing of your relationship with Amanda. But where are you coming from today? In other words, where did you travel from?
Yesterday I got in from Syracuse, New York.
Syracuse, New York.
For bowling the U.S. Open.
So you bowled the U.S. Open.
Bowled the U.S. Open.
Now, let me ask you this question. Were you seeded, or did you make it out of the preliminary, what we call a rabbit squad, or pre-qualifier?
Yeah, the PTQ. I made it out of the PTQ. It was actually a very last-minute decision to go bowl it. And I'm bowling the World Series next week, so I wanted to give myself a chance to bowl the U.S. Open to make sure I get sharp, and then bowl the PTQ, and then.
All right, so now you bowled the PTQ. How many games was it?
8 games.
And what was your score?
I was 60. I believe I was 69 under for the 8 games.
So 8 times that. So you average 194, 192.
Something like that, yeah.
Then you make the cut.
And
so now you're seated in the field, in Syracuse. And then qualifying started when? Last Friday?
Yes, last Friday.
And how'd you do your first block?
First block was on the double burn.
The double burn. I've never heard of a double burn. Maybe you could tell me what that is, Kyle.
So they oil the lanes in the morning.
Yes.
They bowl the A squad bowls the 8 games.
Yes.
Then they take about a 30-minute break. B squad bowls the 8 games. No re-oil.
Yes.
And then C squad comes after the B squad. So
now, did you bowl C squad?
Yes, I was C squad.
C squad. So you bowled on a lane condition that had been bowled on all day by the greatest bowlers in the world.
Yep.
And how did we do the first block?
The first block.
That particular block.
The double burn was the hardest. I think I got to plus a little bit. Actually, I was +1.
+1.
I was +1.
Now, obviously, I've started something I regret right now, but I have to be very respectful of you because obviously you're a great player. This double burn, were you lofting 10, 15 feet over the foul line?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was, from the beginning. First game, I was lofting past the arrows, I'm sure. And then the last 2 games, actually, they were so burnt, you couldn't loft it hardly any further. So I moved all the way back right and played the gutter.
So you played the gutter like Norm Duke did?
The last 2 games,
Okay,
yes.
so they burned the lane up so much that whatever oil was left was outside of 5, hypothetically.
Yeah, basically that was.
And you averaged 201 on an extremely, extremely tough shot.
Yes.
Okay, were you happy?
I was happy because although I did start out the first 4 games, I was about 80 over, and I gave it all back.
80 over.
But they got so hard that at the end of the day, as long as you didn't shoot yourself in the foot on the double burn, it was okay.
Now let me ask you this question: the players around you that were on that shot, were they? I don't want to use the word mad because they're all good. You know, they all belong there. But frustrated?
At some of them were, and a lot of it's the older guys, you know,
that can't do it. Like, give me an example. They can only throw it 8 feet over the foul line instead of 16.
Yeah, and it's reasonable. I mean, just the older you get, we can't throw it as far as some of the younger guys.
Right.
And
so would you say the college players or the boys from 20 to 27, 28 could get it 16 feet over, but the guys 35 or 30 to 40 could only get it 8 feet over.
Right, and I would say those guys, the younger guys, definitely had the advantage if they knew what they were doing on the double burn.
Okay.
Sure.
Now, so the next day you're on B squad.
B squad.
And what happened then?
We bowled on the burn.
The burn.
Yes, so just the regular burn, and I had a really good start. Started out with a 278, I think.
Whoa.
And went 170 over.
Did you play in or out?
I played in. I think I was looking at 22 at the arrows from the first game.
And not a lot of loft, maybe 4 or 5 feet?
Oh, no loft at all.
So in other words, you could stroke the ball. In other words, you could have a pure stroke and get in, and then, and your fundamentals were solid.
It was about 4 games you could do that, and then after that you had to start lofting a little bit.
Now, when you start lofting and you know it's time, obviously you're prepared for it, and obviously you know how to do it, or you would have never finished 9th. When do you know to do it? What is your mindset after 4 games of a pure stroke, playing 22, 23, whatever, and then all of a sudden you say, you know what, it's time that I'm going to give it some gas, and what do you do?
So it's all, for me, I tried to read my ball reaction, and when I see my ball, when I'm so far left, and I kind of run out of room, and I see my ball hooking too much in the front part of the lane, as opposed, so basically what will happen is I'll either miss left and it'll hook through the face, and I'll miss right and it'll kind of flutter, which means my ball is kind of burning up in the fronts. So that's a key sign for me.
So you know all of that.
Yeah, so it's a key sign.
How did you learn that?
Well, it's a lot of...
It's fascinating for me, and I'm going to tell you why I say that. I've not been around it, nor is it from the land I came from. But it's your land.
Yes.
So what I want to know is, how do you know?
Well, it's a lot of paying attention for one and trial and error, because it's easy just to throw shots and kind of stay clueless, but if you keep trying and trying to figure out why the certain bowling balls are doing what they do, it's a lot easier.
Do you look around? Are you watching people?
Yeah, you look around, you kind of see what other guys are doing correctly.
All right, so who do you look at? Like when you were there last week, obviously you're fairly new to this environment, you haven't bowled a lot of majors, but you know who they are.
Yeah.
So who are you looking at?
Well, I like to look at the guys on the EBI staff first to kind of see what balls are throwing, what stuff is working. So that's your Don Barrett's, your Ronnie Russell.
Yes.
I like to see what they're doing. Then I also like to see a guy like Norm Dukebowl. Because even though he's a lower rev rate, he's generally playing the lanes correctly just to his game.
I think 37 years of lane reading, maybe he sees it a little different, right?
Yes.
Okay. I got it.
I enjoy watching.
Now, let me ask you this question. Once you realized you had to start lofting, do you have a set foot? In other words, you say, well, I'm going to loft 10, I'm going to loft 15 feet, I'm going to hit the arrows in the air. In other words, what are you lofting to?
I look at specific point. I look where I want my ball to land.
You look where you want your ball to land.
So I just want it to land there, and I make it land there. And if I need to go farther, I'll look farther down the lane.
Now, let me ask you this question. What if I told you before your generation, before resin and synthetic lanes, right, which is 20 years, 25 years.
Right.
The greatest lofter in the world was Mark Roth. Now, ask me why. Why?
Why?
Because he told me he could loft 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 feet. And he played it. And if he was lofting 6 feet, he could add 2. Now, when he told me that, keep this in mind, he told me that in the late 80s, with urethane in his hand.
Yeah.
And he was playing loft. He's playing loft on wood. So we would get to the showboat, which was 72 lanes, an extremely high lineage house. And the lanes were burned to shreds because they were open 24 hours a day.
Of course, yeah.
And Roth would lead the tournament, never moving his eyes or feet and playing loft. Now, urethane allowed that, plus there wasn't high flare tracks. So in other words, your track flare might have been an inch.
Yeah.
But, so he would stand in the same spot, change ball speeds, and change loft. And I found it fascinating.
It is. And it's a different story because he's lofting in the middle part of the lane. I'm sure. We generally just keep migrating left, and then once we have to get over the gutter cap, that's when we start lofting.
Do you feel, and I know, and this is not a trick question, but I know you're going to be honest with me. Do you feel that the lofting over the gutter cap favors youth, and to what age? Like if you were going to say, Larry, I'm real good, and we know you are, but I don't know if I could do this at 35. In other words, do you feel there's a number in there somewhere?
It's, probably once you get into your 30s, and obviously it all depends on how well you take care of your body.
Right.
But once you get into your upper 30s, you just can't do what you used to be able to do as well.
Yeah.
And lofting the ball.
Do you like lofting?
Oh, I love lofting.
You love lofting.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites. when I feel
I
like
love it. I love it.
When
I love it. I'm glad you love it. Good, and you're good at it.
And I come from college bowling to where we loft every single weekend.
So in other words, in college bowling, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've heard this a few times. Obviously, you get a bunch of kids yourself in great shape, great mindset, great coaching, great schools, great programs. And would you say there's more lofting that's prominent in the college ranks? Is that the right word, or how do I say it? How do I say it?
The reason lofting is such an intricate or important part.
You can sit with us.
I will. Yeah.
You can sit with us anytime you want, my brother. This young man, Chris Freeland's just Kyle Sherman.
I know him. I watched him on Extra Frame this
And
week.
Kyle was 9th in the U.S. Open. Chris Freeland just came here, our league president, who's on the DL, incidentally. Big, strong boy, and pulled a muscle, was averaging about 235, and the muscle went, and
oh jeez.
And he's got to lay off for a while. But
you guys were the way you were throwing it out there made me hurt.
Yes, I hurt after bowling out there.
Kyle is telling me about lofting, and I'm fascinated because, and I say this with respect to the younger bowlers, I don't begrudge anyone who's good, and I don't care where they play or what hand they bowl with, but I do begrudge a major event where that condition, and I say that condition, would never be put out year-round at any bowling center in the United States. And I feel like, and this is where maybe I'm controversial for saying it, but I don't want to be, there is not a proprietor in the United States, and I'm not a proprietor, and I don't go to their meetings, obviously. There is not a proprietor in the United States that will allow that in a league season.
No.
Okay, so if it's not allowed anywhere in the United States, in our best houses, with our best proprietors, and our best venues, in New York and Long Island and Chicago and Detroit and LA and everywhere where there's great bowling, I find it somewhat condescending. In other words, why would a condition be in a US Open or any other tournament that no one can ever play year-round, regardless of how good they are? So in other words, take a kid who's great, but he doesn't go to college. The kid's great, he's 24. He doesn't have the money to go to school, maybe he doesn't have the intelligence to go to school, but he's a gifted bowler, and I mean gifted. And he's got talent. He's a freak, he's like Jacob Butteriff, who is out of this world. I mean, he never pinches the ball.
Yeah.
But he never bowls in an environment that we just saw. And to me, and I don't say this to begrudge anyone with your skill level, take my word for it. I find it, and maybe I'm dead wrong when I say this, but I find that it's not the game we really want. Now, the other side of the coin is you're real good at it. Mm-hmm. So how dare me say that? But, you know, we're friends and we're talking, and it's just conversation to learn.
I would say that the double burn is a bit excessive. You know, when we get left with the rev rates and the balls these days, like I'm lofting it, but there's a lot of guys that aren't lofting it yet.
Yeah.
The double burn, however, I would agree it's excessive. Not everyone can do it, and if you're not used to that, you're definitely at an advantage or disadvantage.
Okay. Now, it's taught in college. You're saying all the college kids do it?
Well, we bowl.
Why is it taught there? I'm kind of curious about that.
So it's taught because it's necessary, really. Because we have 5-man teams.
Okay.
There's really strong balls, lots of rev rate going down the lane, and the formats are long. So no matter what oil you put out, you know, the
burns up.
It's gonna burn up.
The balls soak them up.
Every tournament ends up being you have some part of the day you have to get left, you have to loft it, and some just happen to be worse than others. But it's a very important part of college bowling success.
Okay, when you are in college or they are in college, have there been conditions where you didn't have to do that?
Yeah, sometimes when they put out, a couple times they put out short patterns that make you play farther to the right the whole time. So really you can't play left because the ball will hook too much.
I got it. So there's no push. So you're always looking for push when you're moving left.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Push or hold or whatever you want to define it as. I got it.
So when they put out the short patterns or some higher volume medium patterns allow you to do that, but
now let me ask you this question. What was your impressions of Norm Duke with no loft?
Man,
tell me, I gotta know. What was it like watching somebody 53 years old do that?
Norm is a wizard.
Is he a wizard?
When it comes to bowling and making shots and lane play and everything, it's so fascinating to watch him bowl when he's at work because, you know, he does some things that, you know, with no ball speed, no rev rate.
Yeah. You know, now you want to know my history with Norm Duke?
I would love to.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Every year we would bowl in Grand Prairie. It would usually be Tournament 4 or Tournament 5 on the PBA Winter Tour. And we'd always start in the West Coast in January because Harry Golden, the PBA Tour tournament director, hated the cold, and so did everyone. So our schedule would go like this: Oakland, LA, Vegas, Dallas, New Orleans, Miami. So the first 6 weeks of the new year, we were south of, you know, of the weather.
Yeah, of course.
So we're in Grand Prairie in 1980. Now, I had to be there on Sunday for the Junior Pro-Am, and Jeannie Halsey, our host there, she's the greatest woman proprietor in the history of bowling. She could fill a 40-lane bowling center on Sunday with 1,500 kids, 1,000 kids, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Junior Pro-Ams for 3 days.
Wow.
The whole state of Texas went to bowl.
Like it. Yeah.
And so we would get in Sunday morning real early from Vegas, and we would unload all the touring players' equipment. But they'd also have Saturday Pro-Ams all day, where the guys that didn't bowl well in Vegas would start driving Wednesday or Thursday to get to Dallas to bowl a Junior Pro-Am, because they get paid $100 a squad to bowl. So if you missed the cut in Vegas, you'd go to Dallas and try to bowl 4 squads on Saturday to make 400, and 4 squads on Sunday to make 400.
That's not bad.
No, it paid for the ride and it got you a hotel and your entry fee.
Absolutely.
Well, Joe Hefner was the manager, and he says to me, Litchie, got the Texas accent, Litchie, I want you to watch this little boy bowling out of here from Fort Worth. And I go down, and there's this kid. He's about 120 pounds, and he's got long hair. He looks like a hippie. He's 16. He's throwing a Columbia Blue Dot, swinging the 5th arrow with a backswing 3 feet above his head. And he's walking back with this little face. I'm looking at this face, and it's an intense face. And I'm thinking to myself, the kid knows what he's doing. He's 16.
Right.
He's Norm Duke.
Oh, gosh.
So I saw him at 16. Then he comes out at 18 and 82, and he wins in Cleveland. Now, I was very interested in that performance because I was 18 years and 6 months old when I bowled for my first PBA title as an amateur and lost.
Okay.
So anytime a guy would come along that was that age, I thought back to my young years in the 60s. And I watched him win and beat Tom Milton. But in that TV show, he beat Earl Anthony.
Oh, wow.
In one of Earl Anthony's Bowler of the Year years.
Oh, wow.
So Duke beats Earl to get to Milton, and he beats Milton. But I love him. You know, everybody that knows him loves him. When I turned 50, he was my Pro Tour sponsor.
Oh, really?
I was working at Kegel. And he says, you're going to go out on the tour? I said, yeah. He says, when are you going out? I says, I'm going to Vegas in about a month and a half. I'm turning 50 May 17th, and I'm going to bowl my first tournament in Vegas in July at the Showboat. He says, you got a sponsor? I says, no. He says, would you like one? I says, well, it depends.
Yeah.
He says, well, I want to sponsor you. I says, really? You want to sponsor me? I said, you must be looking for a tax loss. He says, no, Litchie, I want to sponsor you. Now, I'm working at Kegel. I'm practicing every day. The old Kegel Center, the one that just went down in hurricane and burned up, that was where I worked.
Okay.
I wasn't from there, but I was working there. Anyways, he comes down, I don't know, 10 days later with a check for $10,000 and says, here, go bowl. And he put me out on the senior tour.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's
so
great.
when I see him bowl, I melt because I love him dearly and his family. And I know his mother, who looks just like him, a beautiful, beautiful lady. And so you bowl Norm Duke. You're watching Norm Duke.
Yes.
And you beat Norm Duke.
In match play, yes.
First time you ever bowled him?
First time I bowled.
What'd it feel like? What'd it feel like?
Great.
Yeah.
It was great because he had me early, and then I kind of lost my ball reaction. Then I switched balls and threw, I think, the last 5 for 220. And then he ran into an unlucky break. He 4-9'd in the 10th, which was kind of gave me a chance to take the match.
Yeah.
But it was good. And he came up to me afterwards and said, now don't tell anyone that the first time you faced the Duke, you got
funny.
the best of him.
That's
so
funny.
It was a really cool experience for me.
That's funny. Now, you ended up 9th, so obviously you won some games. What was your match play record?
I lost
15-9, 14.
I lost 7 games, I believe. Or no, I lost 8 games.
So you're 16-8?
Yeah, actually.
That's a great number.
Yeah, I think I had the second best match.
Oh yeah, 16-8. 16-8 is If you're averaging 667 in that field, you say thank you very much.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because starting the match play, I started at 22nd, so I had a lot of work to move up.
Now let me ask you this. Obviously, you're with Ebonite. Great company, and the only PBA tournament I ever won was the Ebonite Open.
Oh, really?
In 1971. Of course, in those days, on rubber, you walked into a bowling center with 2 balls.
Yeah.
And you might have thrown them for 2 years. But I was presented my winning trophy by the CEO of Ebonite, a man by the name of Dave Stapleton, who back then, 46 years ago, ran Ebonite. Boy, it's so long ago. So now you're with Ebonite.
Yes.
Now you can throw any brand?
I can throw all 4 brands under the Ebonite.
And what did you use?
I used a new Columbia 300 Sabre.
The Sabre.
The Sabre for a lot of games. And then I also used the new Track Logics.
The Track Logic. Now you were only allowed 8 bowling balls, correct?
8 bowling balls, but between the qualifying and the match play, you could change your arsenal.
Oh, you could change.
You only can have 8 balls, but you can change out those 8 balls.
Okay, now when you got to match play, did you change?
I changed 1 ball out, and I put a Game Breaker 2 in my arsenal.
Whoa, so you only drilled 1 new ball?
Only drilled 1 new ball.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Because on the now when we went to match play, it stayed mainly fresh because you only have 2 people bowling on a pair, so the lanes held up a lot better. So for the fresh, I had a lot better look with my arsenal. So we just drilled 1 ball for the transition.
I got it. Now you had a rep watching you?
Yes.
And who was that?
Rob Gottschall and Mike Calderon.
Okay, now these guys are following you?
Yeah, well, they're following all the Ebonite guys.
They got 30 guys. I mean,
yeah, and in the match play, and we had 6 guys in the match play, so they're busy.
So they're busy.
Everyone.
Now, when you're consulting with a rep, what do they like? Give me an example. Did they tell you about loft, like how much to loft, or do they tell you where to stand or where to look, or they tell you about ball motion, or what are you guys talking about?
Okay, so a normal conversation, say I'm bowling well and I go to a new pair, I'll ask what this pair is doing, here's where I was playing, and then we'll kind of bounce some ideas, should I stay where I'm at, should I maybe move in a little bit?
Yeah.
But it's kind of a lot of give and take, we bounce ideas off each other and then we just go with the game plan.
I got it. Now, who did you feel was your... who's the fiercest competitor you saw out there? Somebody who's really, I'm not going to say mean-spirited, but let's put it this way, intimidating to a point. Who would you think?
Norm's pretty intimidating.
Norm is intimidating.
Norm is an intimidating guy.
Oh, yes, he is. He's up.
Wes Milot's a little intimidating because he doesn't change his demeanor at all, Wes.
No.
He kind of has this stern demeanor when he's bowling.
Yes.
And... he comes back from a shot, it could be the perfect shot, no emotion. Or he could throw the worst shot, no emotion. So he's, those 2 are probably the most intimidating, I would say.
Pete, did you watch Pete Weber bowl?
I did,
He had a tough time. Is his hip bad, or was he just not lined up?
He's just struggling with some health problems. He's from St. Louis, I'm from St. Louis, so we see each other a decent amount. And he's been bowling, from what I've seen, a little bit more. But every now and then, his body just doesn't quite let him do
what he can do. I think as great as he's been, I think everybody will agree that, you get into your middle 50s and you've got, 500,000 games on you, whatever, amount.
Absolutely.
I mean, sooner or later, the body isn't going to answer.
Yeah.
Him and Walter Ray and Duke, Tommy Baker, those 4 guys for me personally, being that I've known them since they started.
Right.
I find it absolutely amazing that they are as great as they are.
They're still
I did not think in my life I'd see that. And I say that with nothing but respect. To imagine a man at 53 or 4 beating bowlers 30 years younger than him.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's...
the left side obviously got nice in the U.S. Open, but Norm is a right-hander that, has less power than everyone, and he's dominating the field.
Now, let me ask you this. As you bowled, did you meet people you never met?
Yeah, Norm was one of them. Even with the EBI guys, I get to know them more.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be a young bowler and then having a little bit of success in these tournaments because I'm bowling with and becoming better friends with these guys that I've been watching bowling since I was a kid.
Yeah, it had to be an unbelievable experience. you know, I was at 800 pro events, so I saw a lot of kids, you know, over the years. But those first few that you bowled in are so different.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming from a local level or a college team or junior league or whatever, and all of a sudden you're with Norm Duke and Pete Weber and Walter Ray.
Yeah. You're bowling against them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I crossed with Liz Johnson, too. The whole
you
tournament.
crossed with Liz Johnson.
Yeah.
Now,
So
I'm kind of curious about her. Was she lofted or was she playing out all the time?
No. She played all over, but she never got to the lofting part.
No. Did she try?
She didn't really try a whole lot.
She didn't try.
So, for the record, the 1 seed is being beat by 200 pins.
The 1 seed right now.
Wow.
Oh, my God. Are they being swept this game?
Looks like yes.
Well, they have to be swept 62 points in order to lose.
Yeah,
That's
this
60.
That is this game. They are getting swept though as of right now.
Oh my God, they are. They're getting swept by an enormous amount.
It's gonna get tight. Maybe.
So you're here to see Amanda,
Yes.
and were you guys talking while you were bowling, or did you talk at night and communicate?
Yeah, at night. It was actually this year. You couldn't talk while we were bowling because
No,
they
but I
didn't
mean
allow
like when
any
you went
cell
back
phone.
to
But
the
yeah.
room, phone calls,
we
and how are
talked
you?
a little bit. My blocks
Good,
got
good,
kind of
good.
late, so sometimes we didn't. But yeah,
Good.
just keeping her updated.
And what do you think of her bowling? I'm kind of curious
Oh,
about
she's-
that. I
she's
think
a stud.
she's fantastic.
She's a stud.
I watch her bowl, and I say to myself, if that isn't every shot is pure
Oh yeah.
and a great demeanor, what a wonderful girl.
I mean,
We're
she
so
has it.
honored she's bowling with us.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You don't when her one PWBA title she led from wire to wire, and you don't do that by accident.
No. They don't hand you that.
Yeah.
You go out there and beat a field like that.
Yeah.
That's quite unique.
You have it.
Now, how were the fans? A lot of fans, or was it slow?
The bowling alley was pretty packed during the match play, especially. The match play, Norm had a lot of fans behind him. Belmonte had a lot of fans behind him. A lot of the hometowners during the U.S. Open had. Syracuse really showed up for their guys that were
During
like,
match play.
Yeah.
Good. And were you interviewed at all there? Were you any radio, TV people talk to you? Bowling writers? Anybody?
For me, no.
Okay.
But a couple of the guys did get in the local Syracuse news for bowling.
Good.
So.
Good. Ebonite was happy?
Ebonite was happy, yeah.
Now, who made, and of course, Jake led with the urethane, right?
Yes.
What, Black Hammer?
He threw the black hammer and the purple hammer.
You know, a lot of people have asked me about him, and some of them, I don't knock bowlers ever when I get on Facebook, but I knock things I don't like. But the bowlers can't help it, they're out there.
Right.
There was a couple people, they're good friends of mine, that made some cracks about Jacob. And I saw Jacob bowl, and for me personally, my son bowls with his team in the USBC.
Okay.
And my son bowls with Jake and Mike Haugen and Ben Cranfield. And Mike Haugen sponsors my son.
Okay.
And Michael's slowing down. He's 49 today. He's a
Yeah.
good bowler. He bowled very well in his life. And he's won a lot of tournaments, about 130 tournaments. And he bowled with Jacob. And in 2 years he bowled with Jacob, either paired with him as a doubles partner or on the same pair with Haugen. Both left-handed.
Yes. Okay.
For 18 games, Jacob beat Michael by 800 pins. And I said, Mike, what's going on? I got to know. I said, you got nothing, and this kid is averaging 240.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on, Mike. And the words out of his mouth is, Dad, he's fantastic. He doesn't miss. And when I saw him for the first time at the World Series a few years ago, he was just starting. He was just getting his feet wet. And then since then, he's won 9 regionals and led a U.S. Open.
9
and I'm thinking,
regionals in a year.
Wait a minute. In the West Coast, that's never been done.
And the fashion that he's winning these regionals is by, again, 300 and 400 pins.
Yes, and he did it again. He gets going, and he's unorthodox. Very short swing, got a conventional grip. I won with a conventional.
Oh, wow.
And I had a short swing like that. It didn't get much past my belt. And my hand was bent and cupped, so I was underneath it. You get here with it and give it some hand. But I watch him, and for his size, and the follow-through is out, and it's this way. You know, it follows to his right ear. Different, but dominating beyond beyond anything.
So dominating.
You know, he just dominated Ryan Simonelli and Graham Fott. These are major champions, and Parker Bone by hundreds of pins.
Hundreds, yes.
Hundreds, not 100.
What Jacob can do with the bowling ball is something that really hasn't been seen.
Yeah, it hasn't been seen. Self-taught. You can't coach it, but that's what makes bowling so wonderful.
Yeah.
You get a young star that comes in that has a style of his own. And like Belmonte, when he came around, 8-9 years ago, and became the best bowler in the world. Now look, the whole world's doing what he does.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a trendsetter. He changed the game. So now you're going to the World Series. And where is that? South Point?
It's actually in Reno this year.
Oh, it's back at the stadium.
Back to the stadium.
And where are you staying?
I am staying in Silver Legacy.
Silver Legacy.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only been to Reno once, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I like Reno. I've always liked Reno. It's country. Boy, 5 miles outside of Reno, boy, you got some beautiful rolling hills.
Yes.
Lake Tahoe.
Yeah, Lake Tahoe especially.
You ever seen Lake Tahoe?
I've seen it once, but I was really young, so
yeah.
I'm itching to go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my first World Series. So
your first World Series.
First World Series.
Well, when I saw you bowl this summer here, I was so impressed. Believe me, I know what a good game is. I might be old and I might be a lefty, but having the job that I had for 22 years as player service director, I saw the best in the world every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you throw the ball as good as anyone I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not saying that because you're here. I said it this summer when I saw it. Holy mackerel, look at that game.
Thank you, appreciate it.
David Ozio stroked it like you when he was a kid. Just like you, just pure as could be. Here comes Amanda. Amanda's struggling. She's getting 300 shot at her.
Yeah, she is. Yep.
Have you let Kyle talk any else? Because all I keep is seeing his head bounce up and down.
Kyle, are you talking?
Yeah.
Are you talking?
Going back and
Am I letting you talk?
Yeah, we've been going back and forth.
Ryan, you want to sit down? You talk to Kyle for a while.
I just see you bouncing in.
Well, listen, why don't you come over here? You take the booth in between frames. And let me go get a glass of Merlot and you talk to Kyle.
That's fine, we can do that.
Well, come on.
Go get your glass of Merlot, honey, all right? Let me rub your head for good luck, all right?
I want you two guys to talk because you're young and contemporary, and I'm old and I'm left-handed. So you guys sit down and talk for a little bit.
That's awesome.
And I'll be right back. I'll be out of here. This big young man is wonderful. What an honor to have him here tonight.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It's not an honor to have you, though. So what's going on?
Not much. How's the bowling going tonight?
Well, I apparently don't know how to get the 10 out because I'm not very good, or it's because I'm two-handed. That's got to be the reason why.
I hear this place is pretty hard. I've only bowled here once, but I heard it's not easy to carry here.
Oh, it's the easiest house in the world, Kyle. What are you talking about? I strike here all the time. Scoring records are going to be broken here.
We do have a 300 going on.
Uh-oh.
So.
Nice.
Well, front 9, actually.
Nice. Gene Gribble.
Against Amanda.
I'm sure you're not happy about that.
It don't matter to me. It don't matter. She's only shooting 2-0, so.
Yeah, right. So you're saying she doesn't deserve to win this game? Is that what you're telling me? Is that what you're telling me?
So I hope this guy does shoot the 3.
Yeah. Gene's a good bowler. I tell you what, when he gets lined up, he throws a lot of strikes.
So he's definitely doing it this game.
Oh, hang on. I'm up again. I will be right back.
All right, leave me alone in the booth. We're waiting for B-Rob to go throw a shot.
Now I got another question. I'm back. I got my glass of wine. Good. That's the nice thing about live streaming. You are allowed to have a glass of wine while you're streaming. Now let me ask you this question. And now, and I need to know this, and I'm sure who's ever listening, if it's nobody or whatever, but it's a legitimate question. The people that don't like that sort of shot that we're bowling, were they verbal?
As far as the condition we were bowling
was there verbal?
You know,
because you're there, I am not.
Yeah, not too much. I mean, The only time guys got negative was with the double burn. But at the end of the day, you know,
everybody knew. Everybody saw that they were scoreable for certain people.
Exactly.
So in other words, you can do all the chirping you want.
You
if somebody's beating you 300 pin straight games with the same hand, maybe you have a problem.
Yeah, and it came down to, yeah, like you hit it in the nail on the head there. You know, we all knew what we were getting into.
Yeah.
They were hard. People scored. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
People scored from all angles, and you know, the best bowlers still kind of came out on top.
Now, was this an invitational event?
It was an invitational.
Well, let me ask you a question. I posted something today, and a very nice man who's been involved with the PBA for a number of years, Mr. Bruce Falcon, who I know from the Saginaw area, asked me why I said it was an invitational. He said it was an open. Am I wrong? I don't know.
No,
I'm not there. In other words, sometimes I'll say something stupid that I've got to realize I've said.
No, so this year they changed it up. They made it invitational.
Invitation.
They invited people from all over the spectrum. They invited a numerous amount of PBA players based on their earnings.
Yes.
They invited people from the USBCs based on their performance. They invited college players.
Yes.
They invited people from team trials.
Yes.
So kind of all over the World Bowling Tour.
Yes. So now, with an invitational field, and you knowing the minute you got in there, you're up against some heavy hitters.
Yeah.
At any time were you intimidated?
No, because I bowl against these guys. You know, the circumstances that I was put in, I didn't bowl the PBA the year before, so I didn't get invited through that realm.
Yeah.
So I came in confident that I was going to get through the PTQ, and then bowling the PBA this whole last year, I'm bowling against these guys every week. So.
Are you a PBA member now?
Yes, I am. I've been since April.
Since April?
Since April.
Of this year?
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah, so they based off everything was the prior year is what they were basing.
What'd you think about Greg Young's situation? Wasn't that horrible?
Yeah,
what a wonderful man. He's such
he's a great kid.
He won one of my events, and I like him. I like him.
Yeah, he's one of my good friends.
A mental error, of course. I've seen it before, you know, and I'm going to tell you where I saw it. I saw it in Syracuse.
Really?
And I saw it in 1980. And guess who did it?
Who?
Randy Peterson.
Really?
In his first PBA event.
Wow.
He got disqualified in Syracuse.
Same town.
Same town. And I remember thinking, oh my God, now listen to this one. It's so odd, but you know, I've seen a lot. A lot of people don't like somebody like me who's seen a lot. They think I'm making it up because they're idiots. But I've been around so goddamn long, they have no idea what they're talking about. Now you got a young man. He's a wonderful man, handsome kid, good-looking kid, movie star looks. His father lives in Syracuse. His father's a truck driver.
Okay.
But Randy lives in Santa Maria, California.
Oh, okay.
Randy decides to come to Syracuse to stay with his father and bowl his first PBA event.
Sounds like a good deal.
No one knows who Randy is. No one's ever heard of him. No one has any idea who he is. And in the old days, when a bowler qualified, at the end of 18 games, they had to check their equipment in with me and present their score sheets.
Okay.
And then I compared their equipment to their score sheets. And if the balls were checked in, I circled their name, wrote their serial numbers underneath their name, and they were now certified to get a PBA check.
Okay.
At the end of every squad, they were supposed to check their equipment in if they were in what they called the estimate. The estimate for the cash and the estimate for the finals. Well, Randy had a very high number, so he was well into the finals number.
Okay.
Now, he was briefed at the start of the tournament. When your first tournament, you always get a briefing. Were you briefed?
Right, yes.
Good. Thank God. Well, Randy gets inside of the finals number and leaves the bowling center. And he bowls A squad on Thursday. And when B squad's done, then we cut to the top 24.
Right.
So he's got 30 minutes to check in. And if he's over 30 minutes, it's a $100 fine. And if he doesn't check in within 2 hours, he's disqualified. The end of the squad comes. I know he's in the number because they have the original score sheets in the office, and they have them numerically. So the end of the squad comes, and I'm reading off everybody that's checked in, and there's one guy that hasn't checked in, and here's his score sheet. He's in about 8th or 9th on the squad. His name is Randy Peterson. And I says to Harry Golden, I don't know who he is, but I ain't got his name circled here. I ain't checked him in. So Harry Golden gets on the microphone. Does anyone know Randy Peterson? Does anybody know where he's staying? Randy, if you're in a building, you have to check in. He doesn't. He's gone. No one knows him. Well, we call 3 hotels. He ain't in any of them. We can't find him.
Wow.
Now he comes in a bowl match play that night, and he's smiling and he's walking around, and you know, there's Mark Roth, and there's Marshall Holman, and there's Earl Anthony, and there's Wayne Webb. There's the greatest that ever lived. They're all around, and we all know he ain't in. We know he ain't in. He don't know it.
Oh, jeez.
And no one's saying anything. And I see him, and I said to him, Randy, you better go see Harry Golden. You have a problem. What's that, Mr. Lichstein? Well, I don't think you're going to be bowling tonight, but you better hear it from him. He looked at me like he saw death.
I bet.
Well, he comes out of Harry Golden's office. He's crying.
Yeah.
He's crying.
I mean, he's probably on
He
cloud
got
9.
disqualified. But this is what happens in the interim. The most unbelievable situation takes place. Well, Pico Chur and Tommy Hudson were tied for 24th and 25th. But, or no, excuse me, 25th and 26th. Well, Randy is now disqualified.
Okay, so
So now they're tied for 24th and 5th. So they have to have a 1-game roll-off to see who makes the finals because Randy is disqualified.
Oh, wow.
So they have the 1-game roll-off, and Couture wins. So he's 25th, but he wins, so now he's 24th. So well, he qualifies for the top 5 for TV and wins.
No way.
He won.
No way.
He won. He is the only bowler in professional bowling history to have not made the finals and won.
Wow.
Now, did you know that?
I had no idea.
Why? Were you born in 1980?
No,
I didn't think you were born in 1980. Now, I saw that. So the first thing I'm thinking when I see my dear friend Greg Young, I go, oh my God. You know, here's this wonderful young kid.
Right.
Just classy young boy, great player. And I felt so bad for Greg.
Yeah, that's tough,
But,
man.
Rules are rules.
They are, you know.
You want to know about my disqualification?
Yeah, why not?
Go ahead, ask me.
What happened with your disqualification?
Guess what I got disqualified for by the United States Bowling Congress? Take a guess.
Was it anything to do with bowling balls?
No.
Was during a tournament?
Yes.
Okay. Did you not show up on time?
Well, I did not show up.
Okay.
And my team had qualified in 1973, or excuse me, in 72 in Long Beach. In the old days, the USBC had a classic division where the pros bowled by themselves. So my team was an all left-handed team with Johnny Petraglia, Mike McGrath, Butch Gerhardt, and Dick Batista. And 80 5-man teams bowled the classic division. They took the top 6 for the roll-off. Okay. You'd switch a pair after each game. So you'd bowl games 10, 11, and 12. You actually had a USBC where you bowled 12 games. Your first 9 counted for all events. But if your team qualified, you bowled the classic team roll-off. And the winner of the roll-off won an eagle.
Wow.
Well, we were 4th with 40 teams to go. They were taking 6. I was dead broke. I said, there's no chance we're going to make it. We're in Long Beach. I flew home Thursday night, I got home Friday morning. I slept all day. I went out and bowled action all Friday night. I come home Saturday morning. The classic team roll-off is Saturday night. And my wife Ann says to me, Larry, Dick Batista called from Long Beach. I'm in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. I'm 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Your team qualified, and if you don't get back there tonight, Petraglia and Batista said they're going to kill you. And I looked at her and I said, what are you talking about, Ann?
Right.
She said, they qualified 6th. Only 2 teams beat you of the 40 remaining teams that bowled 3 games. We were 29.99 in 4th with 40 teams to go. Don Johnson's team, Weber's team, Pappas's team, Stefanich's team, all these great teams.
Right.
There's no way this score is going to hold up. Well, as it turns out, it's 6th. Meanwhile, I can't get back. Well, the rule was I didn't tell my team captain. I left without telling him. And the rule was I didn't appear for the roll-off. Well, the next rule was, who could a sub be? A sub could only be a guy that didn't bowl, wasn't signed up, and was a PBA member.
Oh wow! So everyone bowled.
Well, Bob Hood was there for the Masters, which started Sunday. Was practice session. This was a Saturday night roll-off, the end of the Open Championships, and the next day was the Masters.
Wow!
That's why they ran the pros in that week, so they could all bowl and then bowl the Masters. So they got Bob Hood out of Daly City, California to bowl. He was left-handed. He shot 565, and they won the Eagle.
No way.
And I didn't get credit, even though I bowled the high qualifying score of 655. And it would have been my 3rd Eagle. And now, because I only have 2 Eagles and I'm on the USBC Hall of Fame ballot, I don't have enough. So not only did I get an Eagle taken away,
jeez,
it cost me the Hall of Fame.
Oh, wow.
But I don't care.
That's brutal.
I don't care. And the reason I don't is there's other things in life besides being in Hall of Fame. It's what I wanted in a heartbeat. Am I mad? No. Was I cheated? No. I made my own decision. It was a bad decision, just like Greg's.
Yep.
Just like Randy's.
Yep.
Stupidity, ignorance.
It happens, you know. But you learn from it.
You learn
I'm sure
from
you didn't
it.
do that again.
Well,
so.
no, I didn't do it again. But I look back at it now and I say, oh my God, you know, if I had a 3rd Eagle, I'm a shoo-in. Well, I got a 2nd Eagle. And they voted yesterday, and I didn't get in again. And I understand that, but it hurts. The other side of the coin, when you beat cancer, it doesn't hurt as much.
No, it doesn't. No,
You're alive.
Doesn't. Yep, absolutely.
I'd rather be alive and not in the Hall of Fame than dead and in it.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
You got that 100% right.
You know. So now you're going to go to, when are you going to leave here?
I'm leaving here Monday morning.
And you're staying in town all weekend?
Staying in town all weekend. We're catching the football game this weekend. So.
And is Amanda going to go with you?
To Reno?
Yeah.
No, she's not. She can't leave school for that long.
Does she ever go with you when you bowl?
Not really.
No, really?
No.
She doesn't go with you?
Normally, she's bowling her own tournaments, and I have to go bowl my own.
Do you go with her when she bowls?
I have gone and watched her bowl.
Is it intimidating for both of you when you go to watch each other, or do you?
No. She likes when I come watch bowl. I like when she watches me bowl. So.
Now, you know, there's been some great couples in bowling. You're aware of that?
Yes, there has been.
Okay. Now, you know, the first great couple was Don and Laverne Carter in the 50s. And they called Laverne Carter the blonde bombshell. And she had a high backswing and she could whistle it.
Wow.
Okay. And then, of course, in the 60s, we had Don and early 70s, Don Carter and Paula Carter, Paula Sperber Carter. And then Dave Sutar and Judy Sutar, which is a great, great combo. And then, of course, Del and Carolyn are royalty.
Right.
So you're with Amanda. That's kind of interesting. I like that. Two professionals. I think that's wonderful. You get any comments about that?
Yeah, every now and then.
Does people ask you if she's better than you?
Oh, yeah, every time.
And what happens?
I give her the credit. Have you
ever bowled doubles tournament with her?
We bowl the Lucy every year.
You bowl the Lucy. I knew Lucy.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, I knew Lucy. She was beautiful. She was a gorgeous woman. I met Lucy, and I met her, I don't know, 20, 25 years ago when we were in Dallas. Oh, yeah. Wow. She was cool. Very pretty woman. And so sad when somebody that young passes on. And it's an honor, I think, that bowling is giving her a tournament.
Absolutely.
I think that is.
That's my favorite event of the year.
I am too, because I'm a cancer survivor. And anytime you have a tournament named after somebody who passed on from such a horrible, horrible disease,
right.
Wonderful. So you bowl a Lucy?
Yes.
Wow. Bowl of Lucy, cool.
We bowled it the last 3 years together. We've done okay. We've made the first cut, so.
Now you're both with Ebonite.
Yes.
She's Ebonite too.
Yes.
That's kind of cool. I like that.
It is awesome, yeah.
I like
That's
that.
cool.
I like that.
Yeah, we have a lot of.
How many 300s you got?
I actually don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I want to say around upper 20s to lower 30s.
And how old were you when you started bowling?
I was, man, that's another question. I was probably 3 or 4 years old.
3 or 4. From St. Louis proper, city?
Yes. I'm just outside of St. Louis, and my home center was St. Charles Lanes.
St. Charles. Now, did you ever bowl Dick Weber Lanes on Washington Street?
I've been to Dick Weber Lanes, but I never bowled there.
Okay. Did you ever meet Ray Bluth?
I never met Ray Bluth.
You never met Ray Bluth? I'm surprised about that.
No.
That one shocks me.
Yep. Yeah,
you know about him, right?
I do know Ray, yeah.
He was...
He's a legend.
Well, I saw him bowl when I was 60 years ago. Oh, yeah, I watched him on TV. He was one of my idols when I was a kid. Just to hold it up there and aim that thing. Had a crew cut, ice water in his veins, and, the Budweiser team, of course.
Oh, yeah, the Budweiser. Was...
You heard of that, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my dad bowled with Dick Weber a little bit. So,
he did.
Yeah, bowled with him in the USBCs a couple times.
Yes.
So, very, very aware of the Budweiser.
Did you know Dick Weber? Did you ever meet him?
Again, I was young. I
did know him. Okay.
But I never got to really experience Dick.
I got it. I love St. Louis. Oh, I loved it.
It used to be such a great bowling town.
I loved it. I always will love it. I went many times to the Arch.
Yep.
And here's a crazy one for you. I went to a ball game, Sportsman's Park, Busch Stadium, and the new Busch Stadium. Okay. I've been to all 3 parks there.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Not many people can say that.
Oh, I know that. I always loved St. Louis because of the Budweisers. And I hated St. Louis because they beat the Yankees in the '64 World Series.
That's good.
So what do you think of my league?
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is by far the best league that I've ever seen.
You mean that?
Absolutely.
Seriously?
I mean, I like it because obviously, the prize fund is great, but just the professionalism that you guys have,
Yeah.
Each team is sponsored. They have their own shirts.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah. This I don't take this as. I don't want to say this is me, but this is me.
Yeah, and that's a great thing.
And the reason I did this was I wanted to set an example for the rest of the United States, hoping and praying that the word would get out that this works. And maybe St. Louis would have one, and Detroit would have one, and Chicago would have one, and Hartford would have one, and Boston would have one. And just one, but one that would bring back some pride and some showmanship and some solid competition where you're not going to get rewarded for failure.
Right.
I mean, if you ain't on your game, good luck to you.
I like the integrity of it because you're bowling against people that are in your competition level. It's no handicap, obviously, because they're graded bowlers.
Yes.
And it's just great. I like it a lot.
You're eligible to be a sub if you ever come in here and sub.
I will be.
We allow professional subs.
Oh, good.
You know that, don't you? Oh yeah. I wanted to bring my son down. My son's never been to visit me here. I said, Mike, I'd love for you to bowl in the league one night. And he's a good bowler. And I said, you'll bowl well, and I'll introduce you. One of these days, I might get him here.
You should, yeah.
But
yeah, this is awesome.
Ebonite,
great.
Ebonite sponsors 4 teams in my league, and KR's in my league.
Yeah. So
with Tony Mendiola and Mike Stout.
Yeah.
So I just can't believe, how fortunate we are to have all our company sponsors.
Oh, these sponsors are.
Oh yeah.
When I heard of the concept, I thought it was, not crazy, but it was,
different.
It was just.
Yeah.
It was different. Yeah, it seemed like it was unattainable, and then the fact that you guys pull it off here is just.
Well,
awesome.
I think the pride is obvious, and this is a great proprietor. And, somebody like yourself coming in tonight with Amanda, I mean, these things mean so much to bowling today.
Yeah.
That, here's this young girl that somehow ended up going to law school here. And when I heard she was going to bowl, I went, please bowl in my league. And now you're here. But that's part of the effect. In other words, any way we can help.
That was a good one.
I have Brian Robinson here, who just caught the first messenger in his life two-handed.
Yep.
And he's marking the date and time.
I'm rubbing Larry's head for good luck.
He's rubbing my head for good luck, which means he'll probably leave an 8-10 on a half hit on the next ball.
Absolutely.
Kyle Davies two-handed.
We have 3 two-handers on our pair.
Oh, wow.
Kyle Davies on lane 15, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch this shot, throws a full roller.
Really?
Yes.
Two-handed?
Two-handed. A two-handed full roller.
Yeah, that's.
Now,
when I bowl two-handed,
at my age right now, if I threw two-handed,
like
I would have a two-handed no roller. It would still turn over 4 freaking times. What difference does it make? Brian, don't laugh at me.
I still love you, Larry.
Don't laugh at me, Brian.
But I love you, Larry.
I do not want you laughing at me.
But I love you, Larry. Why would I make fun of you, Larry?
I don't know. I do know, actually. Now, did you watch the TV show last night? Were you there?
I did.
You were there.
I wasn't there. I watched it.
You watched.
Last
Okay.
night. Yeah, great show.
Yes, it was a great show. And tell me about the Graham Falk. I'm curious about him. He lefty, Canada.
Holding college for Urbana University.
Urbana University.
Yes.
Okay. He's unique. What I like about him is you don't see him a lot, and then whammo, he's right there. He's got a shot. He won in Columbus, and obviously he knows how to win. He bowled great the first game. All of a sudden, the second game, he leaves it. It's a flush 7-9.
Yes.
It was like something happened, and then he starts ripping racks with the same ball and getting messengers, and I'm watching it, and I says,
and that shows how
how do you get a 7-9
when
you got the head pin going back and forth 3 times the next frame?
That shows how hard that pattern was. It's just a little difference.
It shocked me.
And your pin carrier reaction is completely terrible.
It shocked me.
But I know how good Graham is because I bowled against him all 4 years in college. So
now he
threw. We were bowling a tournament. It was in Ohio somewhere where the Hoinky is at.
Yes.
And
Western Bowl?
Yes.
Cincinnati.
And he averaged 274 for the first 5 games of his tournament.
Oh my God, that's crazy. He seems like he's got ice water in him.
Oh, God.
It seems like nothing phases him.
Yeah. We bowled him on the TV show for the Intercollegiate College Championships.
Really?
We bowled Urbana Graham, and we did not want Graham to ever have, that ball in his hand to make the shot because he makes it.
Yeah.
He's going to put a good one.
I really thought when he shot 250, I said they're not going to beat him because he pured them. Those were really good. And you don't see a lot of area. The camera angle was a little different there, but I didn't see him having a lot of area. Plus, it's throwing pure urethane.
Yeah.
How much can he create? He's got to pure it. He can't make mistakes. It didn't allow that. And then all of a sudden it was gone. It was like, my God, he's got nothing.
It's just, I don't know. I don't know if he missed it with his hand a little bit or it was a transition he went through, but it was night and day between that first game and the...
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Well, it's hard to say. Buttriff was on the show, and, a lot of left-handers complain about what he does to the lane and everything with his urethane and all the surface. He blows the front up, and then, he gets his break point so far to the left and all that carry down.
True. Yeah.
And I hear all the left-handers. In fact, Graham crossed with him in the qualifying for the U.S. Open, so he was complaining about it the whole time because I was talking to him about it. He said, I had to worry. He had to draw up a couple balls just to kind of stay with what, trying to, worry about Jacob's
And it's crazy because, you can be ignorant to the fact that maybe doesn't make a difference, but it really does. When they, throw urethane in the right part of the lane or how the other people are making the lane transition, if you don't compensate for that, you're toast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was your coach?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yes.
Whoa. He taught you to throw the ball like that?
He did. Yep. He doesn't throw like me, but
I'll tell you what.
He was good in his day.
He's the one that coached you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I don't know who he is, but he sounds pretty good to me.
He is, yes. He's old school still, but he.
Well, sure he's old school.
He can teach.
But he's old school with a young horse and knows what to do.
He can teach you how to throw a bowling ball.
I'll bet he can.
Yeah, he's an awesome coach.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
Absolutely. Dad taught me everything pretty much I know.
Now, as an Ebonite staffer and a great company, making great products for, well over 60 years. Every time they come out with a new ball, is that the first thing you do is jump to it? Or do you say, well, I got enough and I'll wait and I'll filter it in? Or is it one of these deals where I got to have it, I need it now, I want to drill it?
Yeah, see, and the one thing with, we have 4 brands, we're fortunate enough that we have, so many balls out. I try to drill them up as fast as I can, just so I can get an idea of what they do, and that way I can better inform other people of our product.
Yes.
But sometimes they just don't get all filtered in, or I'll drill one and it, I'll drill one and then I'll have an idea where it sits in my arsenal, and then maybe have it compete with another ball in my arsenal, and if it gets in there, it gets in there.
You start with a favorite layout.
I have a few layouts that I like.
So you have like if you had one ball that was brand new, you might drill 3 of them with 3 layouts, and then choose the one you like.
Exactly. Or I'll drill.
How many balls you drill a year?
Oh gosh.
Give me an idea.
Since I just got on staff,
yeah,
man, at least 50 or 60.
Okay. Now, do you want to know what I did, or you haven't heard? You don't know about me, do you?
No,
you
Larry.
don't know.
I know you, Larry, but I don't know you that well.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you were a touring pro
in
1972, and you had a wife and a kid, and you were bowling for a living, and your hand changed, and your ball felt like mush, and your release was different every ball, and you were in Los Angeles, and there was nowhere to get a ball drilled. How would you feel?
It's a tough situation to be in.
That's what the situation was that I came from. So, sitting in New Orleans in April of '74.
Okay.
He's bowled like a dog for the 2nd week in a row, coming off of 4 finals in a row. Cleveland, the U.S. Open, Winston-Salem, and Baltimore. 4 finals in a row. Pretty good bowling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Winter tour. 200 under in Miami, 200 under in New Orleans. Everything I made, I just gave back. And the guy that had the player service job for the PBA, his job was to haul scoreboards, press equipment, locker room equipment, a scale, banners, a lane mop, and 3 foot lockers in a U-Haul trailer. That was the player service director of the PBA Tour, Clyde Scott from Anderson, Indiana.
Okay.
I hear him saying he's quitting. I'm the only one in the locker room. I owe about $10,000 because all I did is gamble and I owed everybody. And I says, Scotty, you're quitting? He says, yeah. He says, who's taking your job? He says, nobody. I says, I want it. I says, what do you mean you want it? I says, what do you get paid? He says, $750 a week. Multiplied it times 36 weeks. I figured I could make maybe $900 if I had a few things. I said, my God, I can get out of debt in a couple of years. Practice every night on tour. And bowl the winter tour of 77.
Yeah.
Quit. Take it for 2 years. So I take it. That fall, I bring a drill press out with me. I could carry it myself.
Okay.
And had a jig. I drilled balls for Dave Davis and Johnny Petraglia for 4 weeks. And the worst they finished in 4 tournaments in a row was 3rd.
Wow.
And I'm drilling them, and I'm working them out. Now, I own 2 pro shops. So I bring the press out on the winter tour of 75, and I put it in the locker room, and I got a sign up. $10 for a new ball, $14 for a plug ball. And the only people that are having me drill balls are left-handers.
Really?
And I'm left-handed. The righties won't talk to me.
Wow.
Week 5, Jay Robinson comes up to me from Los Angeles. He was great. He had one stretch where he made 17 finals in a row. Every week. Top 24 for 17 weeks.
Jeez.
But he can't win. You don't know how to win.
Yeah.
Well, he starts the Winter Tour 75. He doesn't cash for a month. Comes up to me with a ball, puts it in my hand and says, turns away and says, put this on my hand, I don't care what you do. So I did. Changed his grip, changed his layout, and he led.
No way.
So Nelson Burton says to him in the interview before the final game, well, Jay, you haven't cashed for a month. All of a sudden you're here bowling one game for the title in New Orleans.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah.
And Jay says, 2 words, Larry Lichstein. And Burton says, why? Well, he changed my grip, changed my ball, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. Well, he loses the match to Don Helling from St. Louis.
Don Helling, yeah.
He loses to Helling. Meanwhile, the next week, there's 30 right-handers say, Larry, change my grip. Larry, help me out.
Business
Larry,
was good that week.
drill me a ball. Well, the end of the winter comes. I drilled Davis's balls for the finals at the TSC. He qualifies 23rd. I flip him around and he wins. And he tells the press, if it wasn't for Larry, I wouldn't win the tournament champions. Well, Dennis Lane from Kingsport, Tennessee says to me, Litchie, you ought to go out and buy a bus and build a rolling pro shop out here. These guys will make you a lot of money, Litchie. We need a pro shop out here. So I went home. I had about 10,000 I made that winter. And I found a bus with 750,000 miles.
Oh, wow.
A diesel. I gutted it. Took the seats out, put a pro shop in the back, built the living quarters up front with a stove, a refrigerator, a shower, air conditioning and heat, which I could do. Drove it to Los Angeles and started drilling balls on the summer tour of 75.
So you were the guy.
Well, not only was I the guy, there was no comp program. It was just me. Well, we got to Pittsburgh in late August, and it was the Columbia 300 Open, and General Roger Zeller came for the TV show. It was a live show. It was televised. Might have been Showtime or HBO or USA. It wasn't ESPN. They weren't even on TV yet. The end of the tournament, he's got 80 Pro-Am balls left. They're 5P yellow dots. The greatest plastic ball ever made. They bled.
Oh, wow.
They bled. They were sticky, and they were gummy.
That's good. That's good.
And he says to me, Larry, I want to give you these 80 balls. And by the way, any ball companies giving you any balls on this truck? I says, no, Mr. Zeller, they're not. He was a general, an Army general.
Wow, that's impressive.
Who retired and bought Columbia in 1960.
Wow.
Columbia.
Wow.
So the general says to me, I want to give you 24 balls a week, Larry. What do you charge for new balls? I says $10. He says, well, we're going to give you 24 and we're going to match it. We're going to give you 10 for carrying them. Well, that's a $480 increase.
Yeah.
So I take them. And next week I'm drilling 24 Columbia balls. Well, fall tour starts and Brunswick comes out with the LT-48.
Ah, okay.
And we're in Battle Creek, and Jim Maylander says to me, Larry, I understand that Columbia is giving you 24 balls a week. Yes, they are, Jim. Well, we would like to do the same. What's the situation? I says, well, they give me $10 a ball to drill. I charge 10. He says, we would like to do the same, but this week we're going to hand out 100 balls. Well, that week I make $2,500 in drilling. The PBA is only paying me $750. I'm not 2 years into the contract, and all of a sudden it's the fall tour, and I go from $750 a week to $2,750.
Oh.
Now, 2 weeks later, Ebonite comes up to me and says, Larry, Brunswick and Columbia giving you balls on your truck? I said, yeah. Or your bus, you got any room? I said, oh yeah, I got plenty of room.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to give you 24, and we'll match you. And in January of '76, AMF, all of a sudden, I have 100 comp balls a week. In the regulars, 200 in the majors, and we get to Dallas for the U.S. Open, 76. Now, I'm player service director, weighing the balls, moving the tour equipment, and drilling. And the 76 U.S. Open, I drilled 300 balls in 5 days.
Wow.
I'm not sleeping.
Yeah, no, not at all.
It's morning, noon, and night. And I make $7,000. And 2 years earlier, I'm making nothing. I can't cash on the tour. I'm good. But remember, 2 years earlier was 74. That's when I was ready to pack. Mm-hmm. Well, by, I would say, the end of the 76 Winter Tour, I go from a $36,000 a year salary to about 80. By 77, I'm making more money than Earl Anthony. And people are saying to me, I'm the richest man on tour, which I hated because I wanted to be the best bowler on tour. I didn't want to be the ball driller. Well, then my wife Ann got sick, deathly sick. And it was institutionalized, horrible illness. And I had major medical, and I was secure. And by the 90s, the resin balls came out, and in 1993, my business, Pro Bowler Service Company, drilled in 1993 16,000 balls. I made $40 a ball. I grossed $640 in drilling revenue, not counting what the PBA paid me and Dexter and the ball companies.
Yeah.
My gross revenue was about $800,000 when I was 44.
Wow.
Yeah.
That ain't bad.
What do you think?
That ain't bad at all.
That's who you're sitting next to.
Yeah. Wow.
I was the guy.
I did not know that.
You didn't know it?
I had no clue.
Well, I don't expect you to. You weren't born. How could you know?
Yeah, but that's bowling history. You think that'd be general knowledge,
let me
right?
tell you what it did for me. It gave me the most wonderful life. And now it's at this level. But at one time, I was the man. And I'm proud of it. It doesn't make me special. It was just a way to feed my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't feel I'm special. I really don't. But I had a very special life. That I can tell you. To be a PBA champion and 5 Hall of Fames and, of course, build the player services and the comp program, that was a special life.
Yeah.
And I see a kid like you with Ebonite now, and I think back to 40 years ago, and he doesn't know who he's sitting next to. But that's the best part of all, because
awesome.
that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, you created a huge nostalgic part of the PBA now.
That was an honor. To drill balls for Dick Weber and Johnny Petraglia and Mark Roth and Marshall Holman.
Yeah.
And Wayne Webb and Walter Ray and Mike Albee. Are you kidding? My
Absolutely.
God. Amleto. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Let me tell you what's going on down here with your team. For Amanda.
Ooh, there's another front.
They got a problem right now.
They do.
They have a problem. And
I might have to go down and visit with Amanda here in a second.
And I want to tell you the kind of problem they have. Right now, they got no chance at total pins. They got no chance at team games. And right now, it's getting to what I would call the scary zone. Because all of a sudden, they're pinching with a 60-point lead. And I find that absolutely unbelievable. But it don't look good.
It don't. They're going to win their top guy, it looks like. But the bottom 3 in total is gone this game.
Well, I don't want to jinx the poor girl, but I'll tell you one thing. They better get on there giddy up.
Yeah,
she's not bowling good tonight.
No, she's not.
She's not 300 the first 2, I don't think. Is that 140, 150 for
her? No, she can shoot. She can still get the 207 this game.
Yeah, she needs to make a couple good shots here.
Yeah, she does.
Are you watching this?
I think they're going to get a game.
Yeah, this is
2 points.
I know, I'm going to go down there and watch.
So far for the whole night?
So they only need 5?
Well, here's the situation. As I've been talking with Kyle, we sort of drifted away from the league, but to have Kyle here with me is such an honor. This young champion, going to be a great bowler in his life, college man, and obviously a 9th in the U.S. Open. I couldn't pass that up. I had to get him here and talk with him about his life. A little bit about mine, but more about him. But now the league has got something unique happening here. 9 and 10 with a 60-point lead. Logo Infusion is having some serious problems, and Hammer is running away with the 3-game total. And the other thing is, Logo's got to go. They got to win at least 6 points tonight. They got to go. They can lose 58 and win the league. They were, what, 63 ahead?
Okay. Yeah, or 64. Was it 60? It was something around there.
Yeah. Dave Arner's holding that team up. Amazing. Now, what made you sign with Ebonite?
You know, I've actually thrown their stuff before I was on contract with them. I've always liked it. I've always been passionate.
Yeah.
One of the pro shop guys that, you know, was kind of one of my idols growing up. He always threw Columbia 300, so I always threw it. And then once I got the opportunity to represent them, you know, I really couldn't pass it up.
Who fitted you up for your grips in your early life in St. Louis?
Eddie Bird.
Eddie Bird.
Eddie Bird.
From St. Louis?
From St. Louis. Yep, he worked out of St. Charles Lanes.
Yeah.
He just now is for Best Bowling Pro Shops out of St. Louis.
I got it.
But yeah, he's pretty much my ball driller all my life until I started drilling.
Now you drill now?
I do a little bit, yeah. Mainly my own stuff, but I did work in a shop.
You do your own
years.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I did my own stuff.
Nowadays with layouts, you know, and how technical the bowling balls are, you have to know yourself what you're doing, you know.
I won an Eagle with my own drill in 1970. I won a team event with my own drill. Led the team. We had 3154. I had 700, and it was my second Eagle in a row at the age of 19 and 20. And it was also my first 2 USBCs. I went Eagle,
really?
Eagle,
no
right
way.
out of the chute. Oh yeah, it was insane.
Wow.
In fact, I'll tell you one you're not going to believe. This is true. I don't brag, but it's true. Everybody has true. You know what I mean? My first city tournament, Central Connecticut Bowling Association, I'm 16. I won a scratch single. 661 in 1966. My first Connecticut State tournament. 4 months later, I just turned 17. I won the scratch doubles. 2 state tournaments, 2 Eagles.
2 Eagles.
My first PBA tournament at 18. I bowled for the title, lost by 45 pins to Helling. I finished second.
Oh.
My first USBC, I won the Classic All Events at 19 and got an Eagle.
Wow.
So my first in the 4 events were 1, 1, 1, 2. Then I had the first 300 in the Connecticut State Tournament in 67, my second state. Won all events, team, and doubles. So I had 2 state tournaments with 4 championships and the first 300 game ever thrown. And in the USBC, 2 USBCs, Classic All Events 69, Classic Team 7. All by 20.
Wow.
And won my first PBA event in 71 at the age of 21 after losing 4 title matches.
That's tough.
I lost to Ritker, Hardwick, Burton, and Petraglia.
Well, they ain't no bums there.
And I beat Dave Davis, and then Helling beat me in 67 when I was a kid. Did you ever meet him?
I did not.
He was unique.
No.
Threw a full roller.
My dad tells me about bowling against him. But
he was an animal. He won 6 or 7 titles. Threw a full roller. He threw a train. Yeah, a little different. He blinked a lot. We called him Blinky. He would go like this.
Oh.
And then he'd throw 270 at you while he was blinking.
Right. While you were making fun of him.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. What a career. I'm the luckiest man in the
that's
world.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That's
tell you what, Kyle. That's what sustained me all my life. Even when times got tough and I was miserable, and my wife passing on and having cancer, I would always think back to bowling. And I'd say, you know, if it wasn't for bowling, I'd have nothing. You know, I have a life because of bowling.
Oh, bowling gives you...
And bowling, for me, I've had a 60-year love affair with it. And feel blessed by God. And something like this, to form a league and talk with you and be behind the scenes and watch all these guys and sit with you. Are you kidding? What a night. For me, this is an unbelievable honor. Unbelievable.
Well, the honor's mine.
No, it's
the
mine.
Honor's absolutely mine.
No, what you just did this week, let me tell you what. Top 10 in a major, U.S. Open. We're just honored to have you here.
Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm just glad I got to learn more about the PBA history.
Well,
tonight.
the PBA has given so many of us an opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
And in my day and age, you know, Dick Weber and Don Carter were my idols, both from St. Louis. And they were the first two men that signed the PBA contract with Eddie Elias. And when I was 8 years old, I saw them both on TV, and here it is 60 years later. They changed my life forever. I was at both their services when they passed. I spoke as a guest speaker at their services. And, well, Dick had a testimonial in his honor after he passed on in St. Louis at Mike Shannon's downtown.
Yeah.
And at Don's, I was at Don's services, and I sat with Bill Lillard, who just passed on, who's knocked over the most pins ever in the USBC.
Yeah.
70 years. I sat with him. And I remember looking at him and saying to him, I'm sitting with the 1956 Bowler of the Year, who was the Bowler of the Year in between Carter's 53, 4, and 5, and 57, 8, and 9.
Wow.
He was the one in the middle of Carter's 6 Bowler of the Years.
Wow.
And I'm sitting with him and his wife, and then we, you know, we're sitting there, services, and unbelievable. Another Ebonite staffer, the great Brandon Williams. Now, let me know what's going on over there. I need to know what's happening.
So they're using a lot of surface.
And
I started playing with urethane, and I started getting a really bad wobble because I knew they were going to throw urethane, so it felt like a good idea. And they have a lot of surface on their balls, where mine were boxed 1,000. So I was getting a wobble, and they were getting the early hook to set. So I switched back to resin, started playing, more around the track area, and my ball started hooking.
Now, how many points have they picked up on you? 40?
We've won 2 points so far.
So they've picked up 40?
Well, it's 14 and 4 and 12, 26. Plus their totals, they beat us by 200 the first game, so that's 4 more is 30 and 2 for this game.
Oh my God.
So what do you officially need?
So it's down to this game.
I think we need to close the gap on, but they can't beat us by more than 300, and we need to win at least 8.
8 games?
Oh my God.
Like an individual game or a team?
No, they can't beat, if they beat us by 300 total overall, and we don't get 8, we lose.
Oh my God.
We have 2 already, so we need, Dave can get us, if he beats us this game, he can get total, which will give him 7.
So you're going to be, you could be under 50 pins at the end of points?
Yeah.
Or 50, 1 Peterson point you could be under.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wow. Well, go get him. Now that's a real good ball driller there. That's Brandon Williams, and he works in a shop here. I hired him 3 years ago. I knew he was good, and he is good. And they're gonna struggle right now.
Yeah, sweating it out a little bit now.
Yeah. You know, everything was so locked in, I had no idea they could do this. I did not predict this in any way or form.
I wouldn't think that anybody would.
No, impossible.
What are you looking for? Standings?
No, a glass of wine. I'm allowed to drink Merlot. There's no rules. There's no rules to be an announcer and have a glass of wine. Well, they do it in the USBC when you're bowling a team event. At least I guess I can do it here when I'm talking. Right? Thank you.
I feel like you a little looser.
Yes, I need it.
There it is.
Who was your idol growing up?
My idol growing up. I had a couple. Pete was definitely one of my idols.
Oof.
Being from St. Louis.
Unbelievable.
Same town. And then one of the guys I used to watch a lot was the Eddie Bird that I was telling you about, the guy who drilled my balls.
Eddie Bird.
Best release probably my favorite release I've ever seen.
Eddie Bird, I just don't know him.
Yeah,
sounds like he was real good though.
He's about 40.
Yeah.
And man, his release at the bottom was just.
He was on our national squad. We didn't make very much in practice.
Yeah, I bet. He's had a couple good years lately out there. Yeah, his release, man. I grew up watching that release, and that's one of the reasons.
Eddie Bird.
Yep,
Wow.
It was just phenomenal. It's still good. It's just not as much as it used to be, But man, back in the day, I remember my dad would drag me to league, and I would just sit behind and just watch those guys bowl. And
is Tropicana still open?
Tropicana is still open.
It's still there.
Still there.
Well, I love Tropicana. I was there in 91, right around there, 92, right in there. And I used to eat at a restaurant not far down the street called Al Baker's.
Yeah.
Can I get a glass of water? The greatest restaurant I ever ate in my life. Al Baker's.
Huh.
Oh, what a meal. One night I took out Mo Pinnell, Tom Baker, and some other guy for dinner.
Oh, okay.
An AMF guy. So me and Baker and Pinnell and this guy go out, and they had handed out a bunch of balls that week, a couple of hundred balls, so I figured, well, I'll buy dinner. And dinner before tip was $8.80. So I just left 1,000 and went back to the RV. But Al Baker's was exquisite, 5-star, right, not far from Tropicana. When you get back there, ask anybody if they remember Al Baker.
Okay, I will.
It was 5-star.
Wow.
It was. It was considered in St. Louis. There was Tony's, which was 5-star, and Al Baker's back 30 years ago. They were the two best restaurants in St. Louis.
I'll have to ask about that.
Oh, did I love St. Louis?
Yes.
There's our GM, Justin Malik.
3 distinguished bowlers up here in the
a Brunswick staff member. And how we bowling tonight there, Justin?
Well, I'm bowling with... Hey, B-Rob, what the hell are you doing? This is my big moment. I can get famous out of this.
Hey, B-Rob.
What? You like that last one?
Let the meatball talk.
This is important.
I've been talking for 2 hours. Let the meatball talk.
No one's... and they're still not listening.
There's no doubt in my mind. Go ahead.
What was the question? I forgot.
I forgot too. Oh, by the way, are you bowling tonight?
No,
yes, I am. I'm bowling.
Okay.
And I'm bowling quite well.
Are you using a new ball?
Yes, that new Brunswick True Motion.
You're using a True Motion?
Yeah.
Your thing?
Yes.
Your thing.
It's got the Magnitude 035 core in it and the original Rhino composite urethane from the 80s for the shell.
Whoa, I know the original Rhinos. I only drilled 400 of them a week in the 80s. Now, what is your score the first game?
224.
In this game, you're shooting 238.
With luck.
Now, are you aware of what's going on over here with Logo and Hammer?
No, we're so far out of it.
Well, let me tell you what's going on with Logo and Hammer. They have lowered the gap from 64 points to a possible 6. 6. That's how close it is. They're already beating
one individual game.
Yeah,
oh, wow.
And they're beating them by close to 300 total. And this is insane because no one figured it. And obviously we can't get that far to the right because of our camera angle. But no one figured that Logo could possibly lose this segment. And it's going to go down to the wire now. It's going to be a 10.
They got to win this last game.
It could be or 4 points, 2 bowlers winning.
Yeah, or 2 bowlers.
Yeah.
See, that's the nice thing about our team bowling pretty bad all segment. No pressure because there's no chance for first place ever.
Well, when you look at this league and you watch tonight, all of a sudden you say to yourself, wait a minute. This team has led for 8 weeks. No one figured in any way or form they could lose. And all of a sudden, here we are.
Oh, Ross, for a guy who doesn't practice or bowl.
That's the difference between scratch and handicap. Now you're on your own. If you keep making mistakes, you just might pay.
Absolutely. Now he just bowls.
That's what's happening.
He still hates bowling.
Yeah.
I don't hate handicap. I just figure there should be more scratch leagues.
He probably could.
And I will say that. That's the way I feel. Now, how's the arm there, Freeland?
It's coming along. It feels a little better. I have an MRI a couple of Mondays from now.
Whoa.
For see if anything's torn. They think it's either muscle or ligament. But I tell you, I feel like I can pick up a bowling ball. I can't throw it, but I can pick it up.
Having one toe on his right foot.
Really? So I can't
therapy. Hopefully be back
Notice
in
how he kind of limps.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
You notice it, right?
I got it.
It might be on his left toe. That's why he can't. He has no balance. Hey, Larry, which toes has he got? Rich got all his foot cut off on. Which is his left?
Slide.
His slide. So he only has one toe on his left foot.
Wow.
And he has that's
That's impressive.
It's pretty good.
Up there, that balance.
And he hates his batter. So 220 out of him, he would be huge.
Wait till next week with the 49. The lights are going to go on next week, boys. I got to figure if I'm right, and sometimes I'm usually not. Sometimes I'm usually not. How about I'm usually not? I'm going to think on this 49, there will be, in 9 weeks, 9 800s. The next better. One a week.
I say you have 0 next week.
I say we have 2 in 9 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I say we have 9. You know why I want 9.
But yeah, I think it was when he was
Larry, do you think the 49 will hold up any better?
Where steel ball
yes.
came down.
I saw it, and I know it will. There is a fast breakdown, and it's quick. But you're going to get about another 5 or 6 frames out of it, and that's enough for 270, 280. And if your feet are right and you got the right ball, you ball down and you can still react to the shim. 260 the last game. For the guys that can make good shots, have a shot. Paul Gasik on lanes 17 and 18, a D bowler. Last night at the Meadows shot 289 up in Pittsburgh, 725, and tonight he's got 257. He dead yanks, throws an overturned spinner.
Who bowls the league at the Meadows?
He evidently.
Who does that?
Evidently.
Paul Gasik.
But Paul, who's very deceiving because, you know, he's heavy, he doesn't have a lot of knee bend, and he sort of just lofts it, but he can yank as good as. He's absolutely killing him. He had 7 1/4 last night. Look at this, 257.
And just a minute, your legs are coming on for practice.
Paul is my neighbor, the poor devil. Paul lives a quarter of a mile from my property, out in the country. We live in such a rural route that there's no cell phone service and no internet service. I'm not joking.
So
and God forbid we lose electricity, because I was thinking today I need to get myself a generator.
Yeah.
I'm going to Harbor Freight next week. I saw a nice generator I want. It'll run 12 hours, and I'm getting it. It's got an RV hookup. Plug it right in, and you got electricity.
What do you have on the property? Did you move your RV out there?
I moved a trailer out there. Yes, I have a 45-foot Forest River Sierra, brand new, 4 slides. It's me and 3 cats. I never get yelled at, I get meowed at. Yes, it's a wonderful thing when you're old.
So when somebody wants a ball drilled, they're not going to find you there.
If somebody wants a ball drilled, it's going to have to be between 11 and 9 Monday through Friday.
All right, Larry, well, I don't mean to abandon you, but I'm going to use the restroom and go watch the girlfriend.
I want you to abandon me and root your girl on because she needs a little support.
Although they need help.
They got out of a good start here, Kyle. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thanks for having me in the booth.
And next week we're going to be thinking about you. I'm going to send you the vibes through the clouds.
Good. I'm going to need them.
I want to see a PBA title next week.
I hope
you can do it. You got it. You got it, man.
I appreciate it.
I know you got it. I know you got it.
Thank you. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to try.
What an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
All right, Kyle.
Thanks, man.
Sit over here, Chris. Chris, you ever watch him bowl?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I was watching last night.
I'll tell you what. Don't get any better than that, you know. That boy is that's bowler of the year material. You know that, don't you? That's a boy that could go out and win five tournaments in 1 year. And in my mind, what a wonderful ambassador. Classy, pure, intelligent. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
He throws it awesome. They make a pretty good mixed doubles.
Well, oh yeah.
I think my team just won the first game in 3 weeks. That's how you go from
Sounds like me when I was a touring professional.
That's how you go from 2nd to 6th.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you don't want to bowl. You don't want to bowl Gable 2 out of the last 3 weeks.
Gable is.
You don't want to bowl Gable's team 2 out of the last 3 weeks
No,
of the 9 weeks.
No,
That's like taking a $100 bill and burning it.
He's a thoroughbred. He is. I didn't know how good he was. I had heard, but I watched these first 9 weeks, and I said, I'll tell you what. And on this next one, the 49, I got to figure he'll lead the league. He's going to get his feet and his eyes right on this, and it's never going to miss.
Nope. I tend to agree with you.
I'm honored. You know, a guy comes from 70 miles away, owns a bowling center, and decides to bowl here on Thursday nights.
It's because you found the money and you've got a scratch league.
Well, yeah, but still, it's pretty rare today that they're going to drive like that, even if there is good money. There's a lot of bowlers less miles away that aren't here.
Hi, Larry.
I'm not saying a word, Brian, but I'm compelled to. Really, really an honor, and I told him that a number of times. I said thank you, you know, for coming here to bowl with us in Morgantown, because we're close, but we're not, especially in the winter.
Oh.
You know, when you take that ride on I-68 in January and start pulling up the hills from Cumberland, and you get to there's 3 passes that are 2,800 feet, and then you got to go down to about 1,400 and go up again. It's treacherous in the winter.
What is this, year 3? This
Yes,
is year 3?
Year 3.
You've canceled twice?
Somehow.
Okay.
I don't know how we got that lucky, to be honest.
I don't either, because if you have a moderate winter, you're going to cancel 5 times.
I know.
Because of Cumberland.
Yes.
We don't have anybody come from Pittsburgh this year, which helps a little bit.
Yes.
But if a weather pattern sets up, we could be in trouble.
Oh, I know that.
I mean, we
I
could be
agree
making presidential calls at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
I agree with you. I did learn from the first cancellation that you've got to cancel early and just say, you know what, don't wait for a miracle and the roads are going to thaw.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody getting hurt coming here, and I don't want anybody rushing. I certainly don't want anybody traveling on roads that are treacherous.
I agree. See, I lived out where it snowed a lot, and I've tried to make it to the league a lot of times I shouldn't, and I usually have made it. But it's once you get there and league night's over, you think, what did I just do? Why did I do this?
Yes, I understand.
Because you do take your life in your own hands.
Oh, around here you do. Around here it's a different world. Wonderful small town, though. You know, I find it remarkable after being here 3 years and of the change here now. You know, we have a renaissance. We have some great leagues. We have tournaments. We have more and more good bowlers being here. Kyle coming here to honor us tonight, you know, after bowling the U.S. Open, and Amanda Green, a champion. Brian Robinson, a regional champion. Yourself. People coming from Clarksburg, Fairmont. It doesn't sound like a long ride, but it is when they could be closer.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm just grateful that our owners, the Lorenz family, gave me the opportunity to do this. And of course our sponsors, which are second to none. Second to none.
Morgantown's lucky to have Jerry, I can tell you that.
Well, he's very unique. He's a different type of owner. He's one that obviously, you know, caters to a lot of corporate parties and the corporate environment here, being, you know, by the university. You know, a lot of birthday parties, you know, a lot of bowling, a lot of glow bowl, a lot of ramps, a lot of bumpers. However, he hasn't forgotten his league bowlers that have been here for 30 years.
Absolutely.
And obviously, he's covered all the bases. He has all of it. And for me personally, when I realized that, I said I could work here. Mm-hmm. You know, this man's that committed to his league bowlers, so am I. It's just that simple.
I think Logos came out of the gate fast enough to maybe secure this thing.
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. Well, yeah, Varner's got 5, and
yeah,
it looks like Hammer's slowing down. But I'll tell you what, they put a scare in him.
Yeah. Varner's sneaky good for a D.
I know he's sneaky good.
He's sneaky good.
But I'll tell you what's going to become evident now. Hammer might lose by 20 points.
Yep.
And then they're going to go back over 9 weeks and say, where did we lose it? And they're going to see a 1-pin spare here that might have cost a team game. And they're going to see somebody that bowled 160 that should have switched balls that caused total. And they're going to find that one game or one open frame could have conceivably cost them a win. And that's what I try to pass on to these people. That's how close it is. And Kyle Davies is the prime example. You know, did you see the week where he pulled the magic sombrero against him, Justin?
Did you see what I just didn't even know?
Tell me about the shot where Kyle Davies missed the 10-pin. Come here.
What's that?
The 10-pin against your team. Kyle Davies.
Oh, that was
Tell me
the first
how
week.
Many points the spare was worth?
13 points.
Yes.
Why?
Because if he would have made the spare, they would have won. He would have won his personal total, which is 3 points, and they would have won team total,
which is what?
10 points.
13.
Yes.
Okay. So he misses a 10-pin. It costs him 13 points.
And that's actually not as bad as it could have been.
No.
Because he could have also lost what? An individual?
Individual points.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been.
Someone's going to have that happen. The law number says there's going to be a guy who's going to miss a 1-pinner. It's going to cost him his game, his total, game total, and team total.
It could be.
And what's it worth then?
15 points.
15 points because you can't make
enough,
a 10-pin.
That's enough to be 2 or 3 places in this league.
Yeah.
We're a wild card or no wild card.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing.
Oh yeah. Or a win or no win.
In the dance.
Whatever it is.
One spare. That's why we are impressing upon people to understand that this format works, that this type of competition is needed before it's too late, before people don't realize it is a savior. You can get 80 to 100 people bowling, they can fill your bowling center up, you can have one hell of a league. And it'll happen.
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Well, what's the plans next year when you have 2 or 3 more wanting in?
Well, we don't know because our policy is to only take the lanes that are open. And right now, we're a 24-lane house with 16 teams and 8 teams of ladies. If the ladies slow down a little bit, and they go to 6 teams, then we'll go to 18. They go to 4 teams, we'll go to 20. And even if we didn't have full sponsorship, it might be hard to get 20 sponsors. I honestly see some teams getting a sponsor with half where they put up a little more, which could happen. Where they say, you know what, let's get a sponsor that comes up with 600 and we'll come up with the other 400 and we'll ball. And that's okay too. Our sponsors have been absolutely off the chart. So now, 2 weeks of recouping, you're going to try again?
Yeah, the orthopedic doctor I went to said I should probably not bowl for 4 to 6 weeks. It feels tremendously better already, but I think it's because I haven't picked up anything of significant weight.
Oh, God.
Why
do you think it happened?
I was told 2.5 pounds is all I could pick up.
Pretty strong boy. Why do you think it happened? You got big arms on you there.
3 years
How
ago.
did you? Where'd you rip?
3 years ago, I ripped it here and it bled down into my forearm.
Are you pressing?
No, not at all.
Where'd you get them arms?
Bowling, baby.
They're like Simonelli.
So actually,
Simonelli's got a left arm like my thigh.
My wife does say that my right arm does dwarf my left.
So, but you ripped before?
Yeah.
You got under pitches in your fingers?
I don't know. know. I don't really get into the pitch stuff. I don't think I have anything special.
Watch. See this arm here?
Yep.
Watch my arm. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take these fingers and I'm going to push. Now watch here. I want you to push. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Watch there. Watch. Push again.
Yeah, you're right.
Watch.
It's activating.
Watch.
Oh yeah.
Do it again. Do it to this arm. Watch.
Oh yeah.
Do it again. That's right.
Well.
Okay. So the next question is how much? Well, you relieve it.
Mm-hmm.
You do it with
talking forward.
You talk pitches and span. In other words, you got a force vector. You got a hand, and you draw from the middle of your finger pads to the center of your ball. That's a vector. That's a force. Now, if your vector's this way, with the hand open, there's your line going to the center of your ball. What if it's this way? There's your line. Well, you've got a degree ratio of 180 degrees. So, you ask yourself this. I'm young, I'm strong, and I'm tearing. Well, your ball isn't misdrilled. It's not misdrilled. It's the amount of force here transferring to there while you're walking and swinging and throwing it 17 miles an hour, 18 miles an hour off your hand, 50, 60 times a night, 300 times a week if you just choose to practice in both three leagues. So the next question would be is, if you've got 300 deliveries a week on an arm, 1,200 deliveries a month, 12 months a year, 14,000 deliveries a year, and you're 30 or 35, and you ask yourself, well, in 3 years, that's 50,000 deliveries. How long have I got?
Oh yeah. Well, I tore this 3 years ago. It's been tender ever since then.
Yeah.
I have to kind of monitor it, maintain it.
Yeah.
When this popped, it popped differently. It popped here.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
And the majority of the pain when I'm throwing is right here.
Well,
it's where you were activated.
It's a general weakness through the arm. Yeah. And as an area weakens, it shifts to the strongest area, which weakens. Because that's how our bodies work.
Yep.
That's why when you see people hobble, their ankles are bad, but they're still walking. Well, they're shifting the weight to another part of their body. Well, if you look at our anatomy and you ask yourself this question, what would my arm be 50,000 deliveries later? And if it's sore now, what happens if, as I get older? Whoa, well, wait a minute. At that point there, your next thought might be, how do I take the pressure off the weak spot?
Yes.
Okay, that's the force vector. This, with the thumb out, is causing everything else that goes up the arm like a banjo string, like banjos, vibrating. Okay, so if you can relieve it, 30%.
Yes.
Versus, well, let's say you added 30%. Well, where are you going 14,000 shots from now? You're going to quit again.
Yes.
Okay, so what you have to figure out what a way is to get it on your hand differently, here and here, where the weight is in here. These fingers are still kicking it, but they're kicking it in a way where it doesn't go to here, all the way up. And that's not easy, but if it's on your mind, that's the direction you go in, because that's what caused it.
Yeah.
Without bowling, you don't have that happen.
No,
so, okay, so, and you bowl a lot.
Absolutely.
I've seen you bowl 15 games on a Saturday, you know, because you want to win.
Yeah.
And I admire that, because that's what I did every day when I was a kid. I wanted to bowl, and I bowled 10 games a day until my arm fell off. However, there is a limit physically, and that's where...
It's kind of one of those things too, where when I tore it the first time, I used to, kind of refer to lofting it to the arrows was kind of the A game.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up bowling at Fairmont, and there was wood, and we had to throw it through the air. It didn't hook in the air.
Yes.
So, you know, that's kind of what I thought caused it the first time was the brute force I was putting on it. So I changed the game a lot. Went to my coach, Mike Shady, determined how to get it off the handle.
He's a great
quicker.
coach.
Absolutely.
He's unbelievable.
Love Mike.
Well, what a nice man. Wonderful Hall of Famer.
Probably reduced the loft down to a quarter of what it was. So, obviously there's a lot less hit up on it, because that's what I don't understand about these guys that lofted at the U.S. Open for 24 games. I mean, to loft, you're in the ball longer. That's how you do it. I don't know how, it just pained me to watch it. But I got the ball down quicker, sooner, so it wasn't up in the air, it was off my hand quicker. And now that this happened, I'm kind of back to the drawing board. It was 3 years.
Well, what I would do is this. I would look at spans the same, size is the same, pitch changes. Number one, you're throwing a ball that is so geared for power that you might be actually putting a little too much on it.
Yes.
So you can decrease the power of the release and still get a great ball reaction. And I would also play with where the weight lies in your hand in relation to spans and pitches. Example, I'll give you one that was unbelievable. The great Butch Soper out of L.A., a natural, shot 300 on TV, he had a grip in one finger, and so did Mike Edwards. One finger had it, and one didn't. Now, you don't know until you try it. Next thing is, if the rubber is 1 degree of hardness, and the edge of the ball is 70, 75. So you've got literally this unbelievable grip pulling versus something softer, but still the same release. All right?
Yeah.
It's still the same approach, same hand position, same feel in your hand.
Yeah.
Right? But much less here, because you went 69 degrees harder. It's like ice versus 220 sandpaper. Ice on your fingers, you just slide off. How are you going to hit it? 220 sandpaper might hang out a little too long. Okay. You're looking for a way. I'm not saying there's an exact science. What I'm saying is a way.
Just to feel it a little bit less.
Suggestion of what to do, because now you know you've got a weakness. As strong as you are, and as healthy as you are, you've got an arm that can stop you from bowling.
Yeah.
And what if it happens a year from now, and it's right before the USBC? Or what if it happens a year from now and you're leading the league? Or what happens 2 years from now and you want to go bowl in Pittsburgh? Or you want to go bowl a match play tournament somewhere? And it continues to nag you. At that point, I would take a close look at it, because people don't think that way until it's too late. And unfortunately, a muscle tear, a rip, that's serious. That's serious. That ain't tripping on your rear porch, where you fell on your elbows. That's different.
Well, and honestly, that's why I came out on Thursday with the attempt to bowl, because when I tore the bicep 3 years ago and had all the bleeding down into the wrist, I was actually 2 weeks out from bowling PA States and 4 weeks out from bowling Nationals.
I didn't do any?
And no, I went to the doctor. I got a little bit of Biofreeze and Advil and wrapped it with some of the KT tape that was out then, and I came out and bowled. It didn't affect me all that bad. And to be honest with you, when I had the issues Tuesday after the Saturday where I popped it, I thought this is different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna KT tape, Biofreeze, all that heat,
everything
heat
you can
ice.
to stop it.
Because I'm like, I'll be able Thursday. It's just the bicep again, and I literally thought that my forearm was gonna disconnect from my bicep last Thursday. So it's different this time. It's actually worse. This time.
Yeah.
So
I have found over the years when I've seen serious injuries. Now's the time to attack them before you continue the bad practice.
Oh, yeah.
Where 7 years from now, 6 years from now, when you're still wanting to bowl, and all of a sudden there's this nagging. And it's not everybody, but it happens. I've seen it.
I've constantly been trying to, going back to lofting it to the arrows, I've been constantly trying to, over the years, figure out a way each year to get it off my hand a little smoother.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get it off your hand smoothly on the day's conditions, especially when they get hard, and the ball goes everywhere.
You know,
well,
if you're
these
pinching
kids
it
today
at
that
all,
are doing this, and I just figured something out tonight with Kyle. I didn't know it. And I had no idea that he was going to tell me that in the colleges, that's what they see every time they bowl.
the what?
The lofting.
Okay.
The inside lofting, 6th, 7th arrow. I had no idea that was prevalent because I don't go to college tournaments. You only got to hear it from a college student. Lofting today, your physical shape has to be beyond just being a bowler.
Yes.
And the next thing is, if there's something wrong with your delivery, your grip, your weight transfer, all of a sudden you might have a problem.
Well, let me tell you a funny story about that. So state tournament last year was at Fairmont Bowling Center.
Yeah.
And anybody that knows Fairmont knows that it hooks a lot.
Yeah.
It's old wood.
It's wood. It's going to hook.
So it happened to be team event. So there's 10 guys on a lane, and we're making a run at the team scratch number. So I'm no stranger to doing standing in front of the ball return and lofting it. It's actually, I was pretty comfortable with it until I went to 5 steps, and I haven't quite figured that out again yet. But at that point, I was still 4 steps. And before this injury, I could do that for 10 games, and nobody would thought anything of it. Now, this was 3 or 4 years ago that I injured it. States was last year. So I did that for a game and a half, and literally every time feeling bad for the lanes, wondering if the proprietor is going to walk up to me and ask me to stop doing it because it's not natural for the game, especially when the lanes are wood.
You know, let me interject something. I hate it. I think it's demeaning. I don't think there's any place for it in bowling. I think it is a travesty. On the other hand, I don't blame a bowler for doing it if that's all he's got.
And that's all I had.
You know, if they can't stay into a zone where they keep moving left and all of a sudden they got to heave it.
Yes.
Well, I blame, and I'm going to say this again, and I always will. You got a research and development facility and a throw butt that costs $2 million, and you can't figure it out, then I would have to say to you is get some people who can, hire them, and figure out an oil or a head surface where a coating could be put on the first 20 feet, laminated or take a head out and add one in, where there is no way in a world the lane is going to have you playing the 7th arrow throwing a ball 25 feet in the air.
Absolutely.
And we are too good an industry. We have too much pride in our image to have people throwing a ball 30 feet in the air.
Well,
and it's got to stop.
Well, I watched Extra Frame, and I'm sure you did as well, and that's why you knew they were doing this. But it happened almost so early in the, even on the fresh block, to where some of them were going to it that, you know, as a spectator watching it, you almost go, did they want this to happen? Yeah. I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure the proprietor didn't want it to happen.
No, but let me interject something
why?
here. Well, I'm going to tell you why. And I'm not as smart as they are, but maybe I am. I ran 3 tournaments here. I had 96 finalists, 3 tournaments. 1 was left-handed. 95 were right-handed. And there was not one right-hander that played the left of the 3rd arrow. And it took under, or as most it ever took in any cut on any squad, was 20 over with 165 entries from our region. Now, I will admit, you know, it's not Belmo and all the big guns, but I don't have their database. I don't have their testing facility. I don't have 1/10 of what they have at their access. There was nobody in here lofted. Well, why? What are we? You mean to tell me that me and our lane men are smarter than them? I don't think so. Do we have more data? I don't think so. Do we have more knowledge? I don't think so. But I'll tell you what we do have. We had a way to figure it out. Now, if you're at a U.S. Open and you've got 140 invitees, and they're the best in the world. And at night at 6 o'clock, the bowler of the year, gifted kid out of Indiana. I mean, the kid's fantastic. It's throwing the ball 25 feet in the air. And the attitude is, from the director or whatever he is, he's playing the lanes wrong. Well, he was bowler of the year the previous year, playing the lanes right.
Yes.
Playing the lanes wrong. So in other words, this kid's an idiot. Just got done beating the best in the world at the age of 24. And all of a sudden, in the U.S. Open, he becomes an idiot?
No.
And there is no reason for this, and it's got to stop. And there are ways to get it done, whether it's oils or rules or lasers that stop you with a lob line. I don't care what it is. But I know one thing. If a bowler in my league tonight launches one 10 feet past the arrows, I'm walking down, and I'm the league manager, and I'm telling him, pack your bags and get out, and you're on 30 days, and then I'll review you when you come back and you tell me about how you feel about it. And I don't need the USBC to tell me what to do, or their rules, or their commissioner, and I don't. You throw one 30 feet in my center, there's the door, don't come back. And that's the way it is.
Yep. And that's why at States last year, as I was doing that in order to shoot 240, 250, as I did to give my team a chance, at the same time, it's almost shameful. It's almost shameful.
You can't blame a bowler who's paying money, who's got a wife, a kid, drives 500 miles, got 500 out of his pocket.
If he feels like that's what he needs to do.
Well, he's got to eat.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't donate because of ethics.
Absolutely.
The other side of the coin is, if you have the technology and the research and development to allow the game to be played correctly, that's more important right now than anything else. Put an importance on the ethics of our sport.
Yeah.
And have a U.S. Open that I just saw, I'll be honest with you, Chris, I never got on them for a few years now. I left them alone. Figuring maybe they're smart enough. Well, they're not. This was a travesty. An absolute travesty. And this kid tonight's so humble. And he knows how to do it, but he can beat anybody on anything. He don't need to throw it 15 feet in the air.
Yep. And he wasn't one of the ones I saw lofting it either. I mean, he was lofting it some, but he wasn't throwing it to the dartboard.
No. And I felt bad for Ryan Schaefer. Did you read his post?
No.
He withdrew after 16 games and explained why.
Well, Pete did the same, right?
Well, Ryan was headed for C block on day 3.
Oh, the burn. The double burn, right?
Here's a guy, his major record for 30 years. I could be wrong, but I think it's 10 or 12 top 5s in 30 years. 20 years. 10 or 12 top 5. It's a crazy record. It's unbelievable. And he apologizes because he says, I can't go any further. And, you know, he's a good bowler.
Oh, absolutely.
And he apologizes. You take a guy who's been a factor for 30 years with 12 top 5s or 10s, and he apologizes. Well, you know, and like Kyle said, the older guys couldn't do it. Well, it's not a game for younger guys. It's a game for people who bowl.
Yeah.
Because you're 40 and you can't loft, I don't think you should be disqualified. I mean, it's crazy.
Did Pete withdraw after 16 as well?
Pete withdrew.
Because he was going for the double burn as well, right?
I don't know.
Thinking I've got a World Series
I don't know anything about Pete's actions. I know that physically he's got to be breaking down, and I got to figure that the end could be near.
That's sad.
Well, it isn't. It isn't. He's had the greatest career that a man could possibly want. He's in his late 50s. He's probably bowled 500,000 games or more. And, you know, in bowling, we get to our 50s, we don't think anything of it. Well, there's pitchers that can't get to 30. There's football, there's running backs that can't get to 30.
Yep.
Well, he got an extra 25 years.
And a really good last 5 years.
I don't know if you know about Walter A. Williams' hand. His fingers are an inch away, his thumbs are half forward, and they're locked. When he was here 2 months ago coaching, that's all I could do.
Wow.
And that's all I could do.
So, I mean, when he's just sitting here, it's
dead locked in this position. Trays forward, inch reverse. This is it. Frozen like metal in his hand. His hand is frozen.
Wow.
And he's still able, you know, because of his footwork, his arm swing, and his mind, his back angle, his foot speed, his genius as an artist, can still bowl with a frozen hand. Dead nuts frozen.
3-1. Let me go see.
I want to see. What did it end up?
I'm going to take a picture of it.
Well, this was sort of a different night. Conversations about bowling, not so much about the league, but they're going to be different every time we do live stream. And I can tell you this, it looks like Logo Infusion did win this evening with Brandon Williams, Amanda Green. Very close match. They had an enormous lead, almost lost it. And going to be a lot of teams. They did win, right, Logo?
Oh, yeah. Let's see here.
Chris is going to give us a little tally here, our league president.
Okay, so Hammer won 3-1. They got total by 100. Let's see here. Not quite 200. So 170.
Yeah.
And they won all 3 total individual points.
Yeah.
And they got what they needed. I'd say that Logo Infusion got what they needed.
Not a lot, though.
No, it's going to be a lot tighter than we all thought it would be.
Yeah, oh yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah. The total was 26-17 to 24-44.
So they picked up 3 points there.
Yeah.
So now the 62 is now 59. Yeah. And what was the rest of it?
Well, let's see here. They had 1 individual point after 2 games, and they got 1, 2. Wow, Amanda got her point by 65 or 05. That's 65. She got her point. So they won 3 individuals the last game in the game.
They won by 6 or 8 points, 10 points. Went from 60 to 10?
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's a pretty good team that almost gave it away.
Yep. Brandon knows. I'm going to get the total point from him.
Yeah.
He has the yellow copy.
Yep, yep. Big Mike Lance, what are you doing now?
Shoot the bowl, man.
Shoot 300 tonight?
No.
Shot 300 Sunday night.
Yeah.
You like the Sunday night league?
It's all right.
How many 300s you got on Sunday night this season?
This season? 1.
800s?
1.
Where's Roland Nolan Dalton? How's he doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good. We're trying to pull 3 out. We live streaming.
You got to give Amanda Green some props. She shot 265 for the cheese.
What do you mean the cheese?
They needed it.
They needed 265.
No, I mean they needed a big game.
They needed the big game.
Oh yeah.
Amanda Green. If any of you have ever seen Amanda Green bowl, let me tell you what. This girl here is robotic and a great mind. Beautiful, beautiful young lady. I love her dearly. Absolutely a treasure.
Okay, let's see here. I think. Here's his actual.
Look at Green.
16.
Wow.
So they got 17 points total.
Whoa.
17. So that means they lost 47. So that's making up 30.
Whoa. They got close, didn't they?
And then total, what's 200 and some pins on?
That's 4.
2%.
4.
34, and they needed 60, so they got within. They cut it in half in one night. Maybe better. Maybe better than half.
No, that just goes to show you. And with 27 weeks to go, this will be a dogfight at the end. I'll tell you what. There's 8 teams. There's 8 teams right now that could win it all.
Yep.
And there's 8 that are marginal. But each year that goes by, the teams get stronger, and that's what we're looking for: is parity and stronger teams.
My team is pulling off something I wasn't sure could happen. Gable's lost his look. He said they're brutal right now. He said they were tight and now they're hooking. You got Dave Taylor throwing a dead heater off the right, going on 290 pace.
Dead bullets.
290
Dave
pace.
Taylor could be one of the greatest rocket throwers up. Do you know in his laydown the ball doesn't go right?
Oh,
he's the only bowler I know today that is pretty good, you know, in this region.
Yeah.
Where the ball doesn't go right in the lay down, and I'll tell you what, very deceiving. Got a pretty good rev rate on him. I mean, he needs a little friction out there, that's obvious, but all in all, very unique, different game than most today. A dead yank. He'd have been good in the 60s.
Come on, Rich. Well, it gave us a little drama tonight.
Yeah. I'm so proud of everybody and the way they react. I've never seen such sportsmanship and just pure getting out there and get it done. No moaning, no groaning. Just the league is unbelievable as far as that image is concerned. Everybody tries. No one's giving up. No one's moaning. They're tough. They're all trying every ball. And I think the concept now is pretty real. You're on your own. There ain't no time for moaning. Get out there and get it done.
Yeah.
Get out there and get it done. Don't look for any help.
This pattern didn't give anything to anybody.
Chris Alessandro's on an open. He's running out a ball in the 8th and running it out in the 8th frame of a scratch lead.
Yeah.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. That's going to be a good match there because second or third to 6th is tight enough.
Yeah.
3rd to 7th is tight enough for people to move 2 or 3 spots tonight. And if anybody's looked at our prize fund, that's a decent amount of money.
Well, the recreationalists, you know, the money mongers that have decided to throw leagues out and somehow still have power with their votes in different organizations, have given up on people with this fire. And the industry didn't. And our sponsors understand the value of something like this.
Yeah.
And the owners have to understand the value like the Lorenz family did. We have proven in a small town that we could put together a very good league and create business around it. You know, there's 20, 25 of these bowlers every week are practicing there.
Oh, yeah.
They're buying equipment, they're talking about league, and they're telling their friends. It's a snowball effect. I love the corporate guys, you know, they're counting swizzle sticks and plastic forks and you know, telling you we don't need league bowling anymore. Got a salesman in the Northeast out of Albany, works for a company, going into bowling centers and telling them you don't need leagues, you don't need pro shops, and you don't need a lane machine. And I'm hearing it and I'm thinking, you know, and he works for a major company, of course. And I won't give them the luxury of mentioning their name. but I can tell you this. Those people that are pulling this are unconscionable. This is what bowling has been for 100 years, and it shouldn't change. 100 years, Chris. This is it. Amanda, did you win? You shoot 260?
I won one game.
Pull it out a little bit. Good, your swing got loose.
How do you go straighten
Straighten it right up. Got a horse there. Congratulations, Brandon Williams is here. His team won the first segment. They were looking a little shaky, and last game, sit down here with me. Give me a little report. All right. So the first 2 games, it looks like you're going to give up the league and end up 16th, and then what happens?
Well, Amanda and I started talking, and we realized that our balls were starting to hook really early because they were using a lot of surface and urethane. So the balls wobbled down lane and hooked early. So we were like, well, the only thing we can really do is get left of it and try and get in some head oil so our ball will actually skid down the lane and we can see reaction. So both of us jumped, probably 10 boards to our left. And played in, and I went 220 the second game, and she went 207 once we figured out the move. And in that game, I had a pretty good string going and kind of just fell off the wagon a little bit there, but she kept going. She got the 260.
So you won the first segment, and you're both on the Ebonite staff, right?
Yep.
And what balls you use tonight?
I started with urethane, and it didn't look great, and then I switched to the real one.
The real one.
Yep.
I like the real one.
Yeah, it's
I
good.
think that's a great ball.
And
what about Amanda? What did she do?
She was throwing the Logics the whole night.
The Logic.
Yeah.
So you're the real one. She's throwing a Logic.
Yep.
You guys get your brains beat in, and all of a sudden you bowl a good last game.
Yep.
And
I
how
think
many?
It just comes down to like experience of bowling tournaments, stuff like that, where we didn't let ourselves get out of it, and even though we were down a lot, we only needed a little bit to win. So
okay. Now, how many points you win by?
I think roughly 13 is what we're gonna have to win by.
So you did win by that.
Yeah, we got 17 points tonight, and they beat us by 200 pins. So we had a lead on them. So I think we have like a 13-point lead on second place.
Okay.
Which obviously was a little more impressive to say you have a 60-point lead, but then you have that.
Bottom line is you win.
Yeah.
It's all about winning. I don't care if it's 1 pin or 100. You win.
Yep.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to win. So now you got the second segment on the 49.
Yep.
And tell me about the 49. What do you think?
Over the summer, I tried out some of the new equipment on the 49, and the verdict looks super good. But it's getting colder, and we know how the lanes get here. They get super tight when it's cold, so that plus the 49 feet probably going to make the pattern a little tough.
How many 800s are we going to get on the 49?
If people get the right ball in their hand, maybe 2 or 3.
I know this sounds stupid. I predicted 9, but I'm from the old school, as everybody knows. Yeah, I think the scores are going to go up tremendously. But
we haven't had the 49 foot when it's cold yet, though, and I think that changes the pattern here a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because over the summer it was a higher scoring pattern, and we had it as our last pattern of last year's 9 weeks. So it was warm both times we had the pattern before. So I think they're going to be a little tighter, plus the new oil and stuff. But I still think they could be high scoring. I don't think they're going to be difficult, like insanely difficult. So what's going on in these pairs? Anything good?
I hate saying this, but our show is going to be different every week depending on who's here and what we're looking at. I didn't pay much attention to the league. I was so interested in talking with Kyle Sherman. I got to be honest with you. Being 68 years old, talking to him and listening to a boy 45 years younger than me was not only enlightening, but thrilling.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I will never forget this. This young man is as solid mentally and physically as one could ask for in the world of bowling today. And the fact that he came out of the qualifying squad to end up 9th in the U.S. Open, and then graced me in our league by talking with me. I had a lot of questions for him. I asked him 100 questions.
Yeah.
The kid's unbelievable.
Yeah.
His father taught him how to bowl.
That's insane.
Yeah, well, that's the best part of all. And that's what bowling is.
Yep.
You know, a father teaching his son enough that the young boy could bowl against Norm Duke and beat him.
Yeah.
And to me personally, when I think of that, and I go back to when I was his age, and I had a chance to beat Dick Weber, there ain't nothing like it.
Yeah.
I mean, when you can beat the best in the world, are you kidding? You know, out of 100 million participants, you can actually say you beat a man that's the best in the world.
Yeah.
And that's why the sport of bowling is so wonderful. That's why we all love it, because there are nights and days and weeks where our dreams come true. We win. Even you.
Yeah, I have not been hot the last few weeks, and my
Yeah,
team
but,
wasn't been able to pick
you
me
know,
up.
you had a bad, season last year. You had a team that, didn't win. You made the right moves this year. You got some good chemistry, and you're bowling with a lady.
Yeah.
And she's a champion. She happens to move here, and you win. And that's what strategy. That's called strategy.
Yeah.
And every sport has that.
Yep.
And the people that look at that in a different way are very, very wrong. In bowling, there's strategy. You put a team together that can win, especially in the scratch league, and especially with a cap.
Yeah.
And 4 divisions. There's strategy.
Yep.
And you won. Question is, who the hell's going to be second? Hammer?
Yeah, they have to be.
Then who?
It looks like Storm's going to probably keep third. Because it looks like 5th and 6th is still pretty close. Not enough points one way or the other to jump. And
Yep.
Storm's beating them total, so that's an automatic win.
Well, it's going to be interesting next week. Now the whole world changes.
Yep.
There's 9 more feet of oil. And enough friction to the right where that ball's going to, come off the spot pretty good. And that entry angle is going to hold up now a lot longer. And the heads are going to hold up longer. And I got to figure we're going to have some very big scores. And the reason is this stuff here makes you a lot sharper.
Yeah.
Now they're going to get easier. You're going to feel like you got 2 arrows to hit.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
No, I agree. Anytime you add more length, you're always going to have more hold in the middle, and house patterns, it gives you a little more tug room, which, get nervous or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Miss in, and the ball keeps going. That's always the best thing you can see.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to average on the next shot? Think you're going to get sharp? What do you think?
Well, I like to play right, which is what I've been trying to do the last few weeks. So being able to play right with a stronger ball that's not urethane is probably going to help me get my average up a little bit.
Okay. So for the next 9 weeks, you think you can average 220, 660 a night?
It's possible.
Okay.
I definitely can get to 215, I think. This pattern kills me. I kind of just grind out 200 each week, averaging 200 at least.
Yeah, this pattern is very tricky. The transition, the topography, who's using what ball.
Yeah.
There's so many variables that you could just get on a pair that's unhittable, but the 49 eliminates a lot of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely the first game, at least. The first game is really high scoring, and as they start to break down, it gets a little more tough because your ball hooks early. So you start leaving the flat 10 because your ball doesn't have energy and stuff like that. So I think that's where the pattern gets tough. It just depends, if people are using an unreasonable amount of surface, which happens. But overall, it's not too bad. It's definitely higher scoring in this pattern. So, and we had an 800 on this pattern, so I'd imagine we can get one on the other.
Well, I have a feeling that this particular facility does not offer the chance for high scores as others. When you're dealing with an older installation and older synthetics and weather conditions and a lot of things that can change the environment literally day to day, that's why I like it.
Yeah.
There is a test. It just doesn't get up there, heave it, and, there's going to be 8 300s a week. That ain't happening.
Yep.
And I've seen the other side where it does happen, and that's okay too. But here, there's a little more at stake, and that's okay. That's what we're looking for. Some changes. How'd you like bowling with Amanda?
It's great because it's, you know, it's.
Tell me about Amanda. How cool is Amanda?
She's great. I mean, it's not often that you can, you know, my game might not show it, but I know a lot about bowling and ball reaction, stuff like that, and being able to actually bounce that off somebody else who has experience, you know, bowling at the highest level possible.
Yeah. But I mean, how good is she?
She's good. I mean, she knows she's right on top of her moves. Like sometimes she misses them, but that's.
And how about her boyfriend? How good is he?
Oh my God, he's
I mean, you know, between her and him, I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good 1-2 punch right now.
There's not very many mixed double partners.
Yeah, you know, I started thinking about it. He's just an angel of a person, and so is she. Boy, are they a wonderful couple. I am honored that, boy, they have changed my feeling about Thursday nights.
Yep.
One more. Thank you.
Looks like Mountaineer cleaned up on 15 and 16 tonight.
You know, I've been waiting for Brian. I keep waiting. I pray in my life. I see him hit a streak. He's capable of it.
He's absolutely capable.
I know. And I watched Brian Robinson, and there's so much physical ability there. And I'm hoping that I see something where we get a little charge in our batteries here, and we have him have a shot at something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know, make a top 5, get to TV, and let the world know we live here in Morgantown, that there's actually a bowling center here.
I mean, I obviously haven't seen as much as you have as far as, you know, professional bowlers go, but physical capability-wise, like, I don't see why he can't.
I feel the same way. I mean, here's
Even
the boy
when he
that
was one-handed.
Here's the boy that had a thumb in a ball up to a year ago, goes thumbless and figures out a way to win a regional. Well, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
And he did it literally instantly. And but there's more to it than just throwing.
Yep.
And Earl Anthony always make this statement: "I will to the day I die." People have no idea what he was mentally. And he said, "Litchie, my game is 90% mental." And for anybody that thinks those words are meaningless, well, you live in a fantasy world. Here's a man that won 41 times in 13 years. That ain't ever happened again, and it never will. Unless they go to 4-game formats with a 1-game roll-off, and that could happen too. But in my day and age, when you had to bowl 42 games back and forth in a bowling center for 4 days, or 56 games, his 41 wins in that period of time from 1970 to 1983. The next was Roth.
Yeah.
And that's who was next. And after that, nobody even knows who was third. Yeah. Maybe Holman. I don't know.
Chad Gable needed that one to get Team Series.
No.
Yeah. Yep, he's down.
Ringing 10 for Team Series.
I think he's going to be down 6 after he makes it.
Right? You got it though, right? You know what it is, right?
Just kindly, please note for strike ball.
I love giving away money that isn't mine. I'm a philanthropist. I'm going to wait till tomorrow when I count. I'll have to put it on my end. What does that mean?
11 people watching currently.
Well, what about overall?
Total views I can show you after it's over.
11.
We're about.
No comments though tonight, right?
Yeah. I think I'm gonna start streaming it to just Facebook Live.
What are we missing?
I think that the Facebook Live is just going to be more accessible to people. I think the YouTube, we're trying to do the YouTube so we can have them automatically archived.
Yeah.
In theory, it was a good idea, but I think that we need to try the Facebook Live so that more people can come on and comment, because you don't have, like, if you don't have an account on YouTube, then you can't comment.
Well, I'd like that. I would like to see. Don't get me wrong. I am so unaware of what this stuff is, but I've got about 2,600 friends.
Yeah.
And if 1% of them started talking to me, that's 26 of them.
Yeah.
I'd like that.
Yep. Yeah, I think we'd have a better viewer base if we just do Facebook.
Yeah. So how much you make tonight?
It's $475 for first.
So you got $475 a person.
$205 profit for 9 weeks.
And obviously in a nice position.
Yeah.
You know, with 3 segments to go. Well, what do you think about the teams overall now? How are you going to line up on this next? We're going to get everybody right about 3 dots and going right up the pipe?
I know.
What are you going to do?
I know Dave likes to still play this next pattern left to right, but he has a slow enough ball speed that he can get it.
I don't know. There's no break point.
Yeah.
He's got to learn how to get out there with his feet.
He's going
to have to look left. He's going to have to look left and play the tug and see if he learns how to do it. Because it's there.
Yep.
You go up and at him, you can't go high. You start circling, you get 2-8-10 to death on this.
Yep. Personally, I'll be more right. I'm sure Amanda will be more right. We got a couple balls we're going to drill for the pattern, so she has something a little stronger. And I know Matt will be right too, so I figure for the most part we'll all be on top of it.
Yeah. Matt didn't bowl tonight?
He bowled.
How'd he bowl?
He shot like 540 or 550. They were just really tough because the surface in the track area just made your ball hook early, and like it took us, as dumb as it sounds, like a game and a half to figure it out. So.
Because of the pair?
Yeah, the pair and their surface. They were all using, 2 of them were using urethane with a lot of surface, and Amy was using resin with a lot of surface. Everything right of 15 was burnt up. But their urethane balls were being unaffected by it. In the last game, they started ring tinning because they were finally so dry that their urethane balls were starting to roll out.
You see all that when you bowl?
Yeah.
Instantly?
I mean, like I said, it took me a game and a half. There's people who can do it by a frame.
Well, that's instantly. You see that?
Yeah.
My God.
Well,
I know I'm old, but it's a foreign language.
Yeah.
You kids see it so differently than we did. But I can't argue with it because I hear enough logic that I say to myself, well, that's what it is. And that's what bowling's always had, is different environments, and it has one now.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is.
I think at like a higher level or like a tournament, bowling now is being good is being able to understand your ball reaction in the first 15 feet. If you can't see it or can't understand it, then you're never going to know. Like,
so this summer when we run our scratch event, which we're going to do one way or the other, what will we do different from last summer? Anything, or put it out again? I'd almost put it out again from what I saw.
Yeah, I think it was a great pattern. It was
so do I.
Just challenging enough, and it was scoreable for some people.
Every squad, the scores went down.
Yeah.
And they had guys re-entering that made every change, and the scores still went down. Of course, the best came off each squad. We'd take 4 or 5 a squad, 6 a squad. But I was telling some people today, it took 14 under in the at-large number, and one squad was 40 over, but that was high scoring. Other than that, it was 15 to 20 over every squad. We all 40 feet. Nobody was left in the third arrow. Am I correct?
I don't think so.
Did anybody play left of 15?
I think Greg was left at one point on one of the squads, because he bowled, I think, 2 squads before he qualified. And I think the second squad, there were some guys that got in, but I mean, they weren't like, they weren't playing 5th arrow. They were
but we re-oiled.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't like 5th arrow. I think maybe between the 4th and the 3rd arrow was as deep as people got.
Yeah. Crossing the house, every type of ball, low scores, 165 entries, and under to make the at-large cut.
I mean, I don't think they were schmucks by any means. We had a lot of regional winners and some national title winners, and Angelo and.
Well, we're gonna do it again.
Yep.
This July we're gonna do it with an empty hotel next door, and I will have, let's see, this is October. By January, I'm going to have a sponsor, a big one. I believe Brunswick's going to come back and work with us, and possibly a second sponsor. I got some ideas on that.
Sounds great. Well, that was the final shot for the live stream there.
Yep.
What's going on in this pair? Looks like Charlie Wolf's team has a pretty big lead on them team total wise.
Or Charlie Wolf isn't lined up for this pattern. I don't know what he is. He can just rifle it through the front. Yeah. He's got a high roll, not a lot of tilt. It's a perfect shot.
Hi, Neil. What are you doing?
Oh, just hanging out.
Oh.
Oops, cut that off. That elbow went out there on that one.
Yeah, that
I
was
love when the thumb goes down and the elbow goes out and the ball hooks 5 feet sooner, 8 feet sooner. That's what these kids got today that know how to bowl.
I saw that.
What's up?
What's your motion?
Is that urethane ball you threw it all night?
All night.
What'd you shoot?
660s.
660 pure urethane, New Brunswick.
Yeah.
True motion.
Yes.
You ever move your eyes and feet?
I moved one board all night.
Sound like a lefty.
We won the
You
last.
moved your feet one board all night?
One board.
That's what made me great. I never had to move.
Lich, we also won total.
Bill Allen never.
Total by 1 pin.
Let me tell you a little story. Bill Allen won 4 times in 1968. He was great. He was the first great lefty. He interviewed him in 1969 at the Tournament of Champions in Akron. Where are you going? You got bored?
No. I gotta go.
You're going to leave me in the middle of a story? I'll never talk to you again.
You're talking to your people.
No, I'm talking to you.
The 11. Oh, I'll listen to it.
Yes, you'll walk away.
I'll be back. No, I'll replay the broadcast.
Well, I'll tell Brandon.
Tell me all about it. I love your stories.
So the Akron Beacon Journal is interviewing Bill Allen in the 69 Firestone Tournament Champions. And they shut the left out.
Yeah.
And he's mad. He's got no shot. He's got no chance. He's complaining. He's moaning. And he does an interview with the Akron Beacon Journal. And Eddie Elias, the founder of the PBA, reads it and fines him $1,000 for a conduct violation for what he said about the PBA lane maintenance program. Well, in his article, this is what he says. And this statement is there, and people heard it, and people are alive that remember it. So help me God on my children. That he won 4 titles in 1968 and never moved his eyes and feet for the year. Now, I didn't make that up. He complained in 69 that they're making him move his eyes and feet. And wanted to know why he was runner-up to Jim Stefanich for Bowler of the Year in 1968, and in 1969, he had to move his eyes and feet. Now you think of today, and Kyle Sherman's with me and says, well, you know, I'm standing 60, throwing it over the 7th arrow, and you think of the moves today that these people are making. This guy that complained that he had to move his feet after 36 weeks. And I knew Bill Allen. Let me tell you something. He challenged Weber for the most titles in the 60s. He was great. He threw a full roller, and he liked to play 5. And everywhere he went, he played 5. He didn't play 6. He didn't play 4. He played 5. So when I got out there, I was considered versatile. I liked to go to 12. You know, but that's in another world.
Yeah.
But can you imagine not moving your eyes or feet for a year?
For 36 weeks, that'd be hard.
Yeah. Well, I know how that would happen. I'd have to be in a hospital bed in a cast.
That's funny.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
I would never move my eyes or feet.
That's the only chance you got.
Never moved his eyes or feet. Part of bowling's wonderful history, but true. That's the way it is.
Yeah.
It was actually there. Just like the '69 Mets.
Well, any final words for the stream?
No, I think we had a wonderful evening. It was different. Obviously, that's what streaming is. You just wing it, see what we get.
Gentlemen.
All right, see you guys. Nice bowling, Amanda. Nice last game, Amanda. Look pretty good out there, Amanda.
I look good.
What'd you shoot, series? 660?
Yep.
About 260 the last game.
Yep. 674.
That's pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. So we'll see you next week. Kyle, good luck in Reno.
Thank you very much.
Very nice to talk with you tonight. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me in here.
I want you to win, man. Now I'm one of your fans.
I'm going to try.
I'm not joking. You're going to get a win, and I know you are.
Good.
Next week.
I hope so.
I want to see it, man.
I hope so.
Then you can go bowl the T. If you win next week, you're eligible for the TC this February.
Well, I actually already am because I won a regional. So they.
Oh,
they
so you can get in.
Yeah. So I.
Oh, they're taking regional champions this year. Good, good, good.
Yeah. You can bowl. Well, I'm eligible to bowl like the kind of PTQ thing for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But most people, they have a lot of spots open.
That was my last tournament as a touring pro in 1974. Blue TV, finished 8th and became a bus driver right after it. It was great. Larry's bus. I went from pro bowler to bus driver. Now I'm with Brandon. Oh, my God. All right, see you.
All right, Larry.
Nice
Thanks,
bowling.
Larry.
Good luck, man.
Thank you.
See you guys.
They don't know how to take me, Brandon. They look at me like, is he for real or is there something wrong with him? I don't care what they think.
I mean, I know the truth.
I love them. They're kids. They're fantastic. They're both champions. I mean, they see an old man like me, they say, who's this guy? He didn't even know that I started the comp program in the first rolling pro shop.
Wow.
I had to tell him who I was. He says, I don't know who you are. I said, well, thank you. It's okay, too. All right. Close it down. Thank you for watching, folks. We don't know if we'll be here next week. We probably will be on the 49. It's going to be very high scoring. I'd like to put it out, so we'll see you then. Thank you.